I forgot to turn the whole thing on. I was trying to do it to operate. Hi. So I'd like to welcome everybody. I'd like to apologize to all of our UK fans about the timing of the show, simply because it's clearly built for a US time zone, and I feel bad that you guys have to stay up so late to enjoy the show live. Anyways, I mean, you can obviously save me for later, kind of like a chocolate on your pillow. Wait, what? On for those kind of things. But man, oh Shevitz, show today. So I know a lot of you know that Rudy Giuliani farted in the hearing that they had today. What many of you don't know is that he farted twice. Even I was unaware. And I have to say, every time one of these things happens, I'm like, if I show that on my show first, before it comes up, everybody's going to think I added it. But currently, my sound clips are down, so I don't have the ability to add any farts after the fact. God damn it. All the people in Georgia, don't worry about that. That's a good time. It will have zero effect. Yes, he farted twice. It was audible. Hi, Don, Scotland. How are you? I'm a bunny, Scotland. I loved you. And UK's in the house. It's nice. You guys being around. Yeah, it's not too bad. Could be worse. Could be stabbed. Right. So yeah. First of all, we'll check out this one. This is you have to listen for this one. Hold on. I have to make sure the audio is up on this one. You have to really listen for this. This one's kind of like he's clearing the decks. Watch this.
Is not
You're attempting to seek a pardon, so why is this not part of that?
I will ask that he be disciplined for that. First of all,
there it is. Right after the word discipline for that. Right after he says discipline for that. Listen. I'm not adding this. I'm pulling my hands back as soon as it happens. Watch.
For that. First of all,
hold on.
Second of all, honestly, the fart comes first. And look at the look on her face. Basically, a Democratic legislator has said, you are seeking a pardon from the president. How do we not factor that in to you making this case in front of the legislature today? And how do we take you seriously? How do we take you seriously considering, you're trying to seek a pardon? You can hear him start at the beginning of this, but listen. And Rudy's mad. He thinks the guy should be disciplined for even bringing up the fact that he's soliciting a pardon from the president, and he's making a case for the president that has no merits and is wasting everyone's time, which would be a reasonable reflection by a state senator who is concerned about the budgetary constraints of the legislature. Why are we wasting all this money on this? Because this asshole wants a pardon from the president. That's what this is. Thank you, Sean.
Is not.
You're attempting to seek a pardon, so why is this not part of that?
I will ask that he be disciplined for that. First of all.
Oh God. The timing is comedy genius. Oh God. Listen to that again. Hold on, then we'll move on.
He be disciplined for that. First of all. Do you know how loud that has to be for that mic to pick up that little fart? That fart sounded tiny, which means in person it was way louder. And her going, because it's the reason she's looking at him like that is because it sounds like a little, but it's not. Oh God, it's so disgusting, Jane. I apologize, but God damn, that's funny. And look at her face. Oh God, discipline, please. Oh, hold on, shit. First of all,
hold on.
First of all,
what he says is untrue.
Point
Second,
of order.
I'm just hoping to get an answer to the other questions about Mr. Barr and others who have disproven a lot of
Representative,
I gave you the
do you have a
answer.
point of order?
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness.
You know, it must be this dude. It must be that particular representative. That's the second fart, by the way. This is not the same one again. They cut them together.
Interview a single witness.
A single witness.
A single witness. Just like
This is, what did they have for lunch? And this, I mean, if I felt bad for her ever, this would be it, but I don't. Like, her being downwind from this nonsense is God proving its existence to us all. Yeah, I bet she wish she was wearing a mask. Oh, God, that's so funny. It's like music.
interview a single witness. Just like
A single witness. Okay, so those are the two farts, just in case anybody... objection! I object to this... this
part of that.
Representative.
I will ask that he be disciplined for that. First of all,
Hold on. Let's.
first of all, what he says
hold
is
it.
untrue.
Point of
Second,
order.
I'm just hoping to get an answer to the other questions about Mr. Barr and others who have disproven a lot of
Representative.
I gave you
do
the
have a
answer.
point of order?
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness. Just
Mick, I missed you too. This is so juvenile, but honest to God, the man farted twice, and that was the closest thing to real evidence he presented at this hearing. Oh, we'll look at the Lynn Wood video. Mwah. Oh, God. Yeah, she's just... And again, these sound relatively quiet in these... Right, Noel, he needs a changing room. These sound relatively quiet to us because the mic is that high up on the table and aimed right at his Adam's apple, it seems, which means they have to be so much louder to be picked up that clearly and with that much detail. You know how fucked up that is? That this has to... Listen to this. Listen to this.
a single witness.
Honest to God. Yeah, relatively wet. You think? I mean, and it was during the same line of questioning, which apparently affected his gastrointestinal health. I can't. God. So, anyways, this, like I said, this is the closest thing to legitimate evidence that they presented in the hearing today. We'll go over some of it, but his statement in full is coming up in just a little bit. And by the way, Trump's been again sort of tweeting chunks of this stuff, including his new girlfriend, this woman. Michigan voter fraud witness. I don't know why anyone.
I have 19.
This woman. Okay, so you've seen a bunch of her on the interwebs today, largely because she's apparently drunk. I feel like I'm family. That's a good thing. I'm glad you feel like family around here. It's a nice gathering. Yeah, Victoria Jackson. Only yeah. She's a model. She's an actress. She's got lots of options. But she's graced our presence today, and she is she's day drunk, and apparently this is the much ballyhooed Dominion employee whistleblower. See, I thought she was. If you just read this, it just says whatever. Michigan voter fraud witness. I don't know why anyone would write an affidavit just to write one. Well, that solves it. That's the description the Trump campaign and the Trump organization, whatever it is, the Victory Fund, which is going to be a permanent electioneering racket, is calling this clip. I don't know why anyone would write an affidavit just to write one. A couple of reasons. One, you are a complete psychopath, sycophant of the president, and you are deluded enough to believe your own bullshit, and you think you can be a hero to your hero. Do you not know that people have crazy fans and you might be one of them? I mean, that would be that's the obvious reason. This is why very seldom will you ever hear me. It's like, look, nobody is saying, I very seldom, if ever, use that phrase. Because there's over 7 billion people on the goddamn planet. Somebody's saying everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's check her out, because she's, and by the way, they only put up a minute 30 on the website. She's got a lot more, and I don't know if they included. Apparently, Rudy is shitting his pants during this whole part, and Jen Ellis is afraid she's going to shit on him. But what are you going to do? Here we go.
Things in my affidavit. I was at the TCF Center for 27 hours.
What's your secret? Coke?
I'm a mother. I have 2 children, and I have 2
And you left them alone for 27 hours?
degrees.
2 degrees and 2 children. Did you get them the same way? I'm sorry.
Very, I would never, I don't know any woman in the world that would write an affidavit under oath.
Well, I would like to say this is a big leap forward that the Republican Party is now believe all women. How about this? If you believe that, ma'am, I want to thank you as someone who's never seen your full testimony before, and this little clip that the president chose to pull out of, and the fact that you can say these words. See if you can listen to what she says here and compare it to what we know about the president's attitude towards women allegedly telling the truth in legal proceedings about people.
Degrees. I'm very, I would never, I don't know any woman in the world that would write an affidavit under oath just to write it.
Oh, so what you're saying is Trump's a rapist. Thanks, ma'am. I thought you were going to be relatively useless today, but actually you served a fantastic purpose, and I was not expecting that to come out of you in particular. I'm personally amazed. Aren't you? I mean, fucking da. You know, why would 27 women accuse the president of the United States when he was a businessman of being a rapist and a serial sexual assaulter? Why would they do that? Why would you hire a lawyer and file charges and file civil suits if you weren't absolutely telling the truth, ma'am? Good point. This is excellent. I would recommend, before the day is out, see that guy farting next to you? Bring that up to him about the 27 women and the 1 child that we know of that has accused his client, of rape. Because why would they just do that? Why would they fill out an affidavit and swear to it under oath just to do it? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being the hero we've all been waiting for. I take back you being a day drunk. It's actually served a greater purpose. And you've got Rudy shuffling through his goddamn papers right now because that is literally the last thing he wants to hear from someone sitting next to him at a hearing.
No, you can go to prison for this.
Yeah, so basically all these women who accused Trump of rape are legit. Thank you for saying that.
So anyways, I want to make this very clear.
Please do.
I was initially supposed to work at the Detroit Department of Elections building.
Okay, very clear. You were supposed to work at the Detroit Department of Elections building. It's a building. They have their own building. Detroit, well, there's a lot of unused buildings, so maybe they do, but all right.
That was an order by my manager.
My manager gave me an order, okay?
Nick Economag. That was an order by my manager, Nick Economagonis.
I love Nick Economagonis. I'm going to guess his family came to America via Canada, actually. A lot of Greeks that live up in Canada and moved down here, especially in the Detroit area.
Part owner of Dominion.
Okay. Part owner. So wait a minute. Part owner of Dominion? Nick Economagonis is part owner of Dominion? And they operate in Canada partly, and a lot of Greek people live in Toronto. This is all coming together. My problem is that your president, the man that you are throwing yourself in front of a bus for, and apparently not realizing that you've just verified 27 rape charges against, says nobody knows who owns it.
I have it all in emails.
Excellent. Where are they?
I was trained on the adjudication and tabulation process.
Fabulous. You were trained on the adjudication and tabulation process. Tell us what's up.
So in the email, it says you are to park in a parking lot and get shuttled over to this, they referred to it as the Chicago warehouse.
Okay, cool. So you park in one parking lot and you're shuttled over to the Chicago warehouse in Detroit. Already, I see a problem.
I know for a fact there was illegal activity going on there.
Hello. What kind of illegal activity are we talking about? I mean, it is the Chicago warehouse, so probably what? Tommy guns? Bootlegging?
People have pictures of people carrying ballots out of that place.
Okay, so are they carrying them in or out? Are they including ballots that weren't supposed to be there? Are they taking ballots out? So they remove Trump. Okay, so they have pictures of people carrying ballots out of the. Okay, so a fistful, what, 8, 10? Because if it's a box of paper, how do you know they're ballots?
There
Yeah, Rudy's like, could you lean forward and take your scarf off?
is pictures of vans full of ballots coming out of that place.
Wait, there's pictures. That was it. There was pictures of vans full of ballots coming out of that place. That's all we get. That and the fact that she thinks all the rape charges against Trump are valid, which is probably why the man is constant. This is on his site. This is from the Trump actual. He picked this clip. This woman, this lady, if I may be so bold, was actually speaking for quite some time. But they pulled a clip, and right now Rudy is, of course, one cheek sneaking Jenna just to make sweet sweets with this lady over here. He definitely prefers her to her, so he's just farting on her. This is what's... This is... Does it not look like he's just literally... So, Donald Trump puts this clip, of all clips of this lady, on his website. Of all the things she said, the man who has 27 women accusing him of rape, who have hired lawyers, been deposed, filed affidavits with the court, who have come forward, all those women, and what clip does he put up?
18 things in my affidavit. I was at the TCF Center for 27 hours. I'm a mother. I have 2 children, and I have 2 degrees. I'm very...
Yes, you are.
I would never... I don't know any woman in the world that would write an affidavit under oath just to write it.
So clearly the president is a rapist. I think it's what his key witness's point is, if I may be so bold. This was the clip. And then the end of it is, I saw vans of ballots being taken out of that place. There's pictures of them. There's pictures of vans. There's no pictures of anybody putting stuff in the van. There's no pictures of what the pictures of the stuff that was being put in the van was, if indeed anything was being put in the van, if anything wasn't being taken out of the van. It's a little difficult to tell from a picture whether something is being put in or taken out. But, it's not like we all have video cameras on our goddamn phones. This lady is special. Let's start with let's start with.
I appreciate your
Let's go to Jen Ellis before the farting begins.
calling this session, Mr. Chairman, and that we have members that are both Democrats and Republicans here. But you're all here in your capacity as legislators.
Yeah, this is an actual gathering as opposed to the farcical Ramada-in ones.
And this is not a political question. This is a legal one. When you have what you will see before you as substantial evidence of fraud and corruption in an election, it's...
Yeah, but that's just your presence at this thing, is it not? I mean, what more example of fraud and corruption in an election do you need than you and Rudy Giuliani farting up the legislature?
It's your obligation under the United States Constitution
to throw both of you out on your ass?
To not allow the corruption to continue.
That's right. So I'm going to move to ask her to leave. Thank you.
And under Article 2, Section 1.2...
Oh, this is the one, you guys pick the electors, not the Board of Elections. This is the whole crux of their case, which is a turd hunt, but we'll get to that in a minute.
State legislators are the entity that our founders specifically vested with the authority to ensure against a corrupt popular vote. I appreciate
That's the argument. Listen to this shit at the end of this.
A corrupt popular vote.
A corrupt popular vote. I gotta say, that caught me off guard. I thought she was going to go with the whole 2.1 section being about the fact that the electors get to pick the electors, not some board that they set up and give the right to, even though the Constitution says they may choose the manner in which they are chosen, which would mean that if they wanted to use a fucking game of darts, they could, or they could, spin a wheel, or they could, appoint everybody can, pick a third cousin. Doesn't matter. Constitution gives the legislature the right to determine how they will decide the electors, not that they must pick the electors themselves one-to-one, which is Rudy's case. He's thrown around a bunch, which is bullshit, and even read it out loud, and you could see in the middle of him reading it, he's like, oh, fuck. That's not what I thought it said, which is hilarious. A corrupt popular vote. Piss off, lady. They only give her 15 seconds.
We sit before you today on behalf of the President of the United States, but as he said today in a speech from the White House, it's his sworn duty and obligation to make sure that election integrity and free and fair elections are preserved in this country.
And so he's stepping down.
We sit before
you representing the president. Well, he does for sure. Okay. Witness in Michigan says this one says witness in Michigan says she was directed to backdate absentee ballots by a supervisor. So this is the case. The supervisor, a whole minute of this. Again, I have not watched these clips. I do not prep myself with some sort of snappy answer. What you're seeing is wit, and it's miraculous. I understand. Some people think it has to be planned, but it isn't. So let's hear what this lady has to say about them, backdating ballots that were coming in. Let's hear it.
Did you say that about 100,000 false documents were created?
Would you say that about 100,000 false documents were created?
Yeah, from September 22nd till, I would say, till September 30th. Yeah, about 10 days. I mean, I was there till October 2nd.
And you estimated, when we went over this, about 10,000 a day.
Yeah, anywhere between 10,000 to 15,000. Yeah, sometimes we will be able to complete. I even remember 14,000 packages. Sometimes it's 12,000. So you can just, to be on the safe side, you can say 10,000.
Yeah, just say it. Just in between 14 and 12,000. These all happened in September. All ballots must be turned in, signed, and voted on by November 3rd. What the fuck does backdating have to do with things that happened in September?
Per day, that's a good number.
And just before we leave this, would you...
Yeah, please.
Your supervisor say this to all of you publicly? In other words, he would say, today, the date we're going to use is
This day.
whatever.
Yes. Yeah, that's the
In other
announcement.
words, you had the phony date of the day to
Yeah,
put
that's
down.
the announcement they will make. Yes, on the floor. Yes. Yes.
Would you say that
Listen to this again. Now, is she talking about ballots that came in after Election Day that someone is backdating to make appear as though they were turned in on or before Election Day, but they were not? Is she saying that? And for those of you that haven't been keeping up, the Election Day was November 3rd. The polls closed at 8:30, and you can, on that day, whenever you get that in the mail, if it's post-dated on the 3rd, it can be counted as a mail-in ballot. So when is the time period we are talking about where supposedly, something untoward was happening? Backdating was occurring.
about 100,000?
100,000 ballots. What, they on the 5th of November came in and they said, these are on the 5th. You got to date these to be the 2nd, so it looks like they came in. So did your supervisor say to you on November 5th to make these November 4th ballots look like they came in on the 2nd or the 3rd, or did they come in on the 6th and this is the 5th? What did she say? What dates are we talking about where these ballot applications, but whatever, are backdated? These were applications for ballots being backdated. What was the date in concern?
False documents were created?
False documents were created.
Yeah, from September 22nd till, I would say, till September 30th. Yeah.
From September 22nd to September 30th, an 8-day period, more than a month before the election. What the fuck are you talking about?
About 10 days. I mean, I was there till October 2nd.
So she was there till October 2nd. So after September 30th, they were locking those dates in solid, I guess? And you were backdating when the batches were completed, therefore mailed out? Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this well-meaning lady, and perhaps some of the other people who were working there, misunderstood how they were organizing the batches, and that they completed batches of them and said, yeah, that batch was completed 2 days ago. So make sure you put the right date, because we're dealing with, today is the 27th, but the batches that we're working on mailing out today were completed on the 25th. So you need to mark down that they came in on the 25th, because that's the day that they were batched, not the mail out date. So make sure that you put on your list that the 25th is important, because that's when they were completed. And they've been holding since then, so we know then they can compare the batch date, which is what you're writing down, to the postmark when it actually goes through the fucking mail, and know that they came in on this date, they stayed here these 2 days, and they went out, because we're following basically a chain of evidence in sending out people's ballots or ballot applications. Perhaps that's what happened. Now, apparently they caught up on the 30th, and the rest of the goddamn month, they didn't need to mail out anything that wasn't a batch finish that day. They were getting ahead of themselves, or they were behind by 2 days or 3 days, and then they caught up. Still, like, what the fuck are these? What is illegal about any of these fucking ballots? This is they have a lot of dumb arguments, and they've floated this one a couple of times. The backdating of applications or, sample ballots or actual ballots mailed out. And she's not making a distinction, at least in the clip that they're showing, and that's probably intentional, whether they were real ballots, sample ballots, or applications. He's just saying fraudulent documents like that's a fucking thing.
You estimated when we went over this.
When we went over this, and I thought I understood you.
About 10,000 a day.
Yeah, anywhere between 10,000 to 15,000. Yeah, sometimes we will be able to complete. I even remember 14,000 packages. Sometimes it's 12,000. So you can just, to be on the safe side, you can say 10,000.
Yeah, sure. So 15,000, sometimes 12,000, and right in between those, if you want to average it out, it's of course 10,000
per day. That's a good number.
It is a good number. I like it. I like 10,000. As a matter of fact, 10,000 stars. Facebook, prove your love. I'm kidding.
Just before we leave this, would your
you should have left it a long time ago, Rudy.
supervisor say this
out loud in public like it wasn't illegal, knowing full well it's completely perfunctory and normal? Did they announce it on a goddamn bullhorn to everyone present, not giving a shit? Is that how it went down?
to all of you publicly? In other words, he would say, today, the date we're going to use is
This day.
whatever.
Yes. Yeah, that's the
In other words,
announcement.
you had the phony date of the day. to
Yeah,
put
that's
down.
the announcement they will make. Yes, on the floor. Yes.
Dun,
Yes.
dun, dun. The phony date of the day. Really, was it phony? Explain to us, Rudy Giuliani, please, if you would, somewhere, at some fucking point, what you actually think happened. And maybe this is in this other clip. Let's see.
The first thing I will do is I will enter the voter and I will do a voter search. Then the
Okay, enter the voter, do a voter search.
system will tell you whether city already mailed the absentee ballot to them or not.
Okay, and we'll check and see if they already mailed their absentee ballot to them or not.
Whether there is an active ballot in the QEF system for that voter.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do that, lots of that time you will see a ballot has been already sent to that voter, but when they come to you, they said, I never requested a ballot. I never received any ballot. I never requested for a ballot. Can I vote now? I'm here. I want to
This is the proud woman story, by the way, I think.
vote now. I said, of course. I mean, I can spoil the ballot. Then I can issue another ballot, and you can vote. So I have done that many times, but for the
Define many.
I was instructed to do like that.
Yes, if someone came in and said, I didn't get a ballot, I didn't vote, they go, well, you can vote provisionally. I don't know what to tell you. You according to this, you voted. Are you perhaps a Trump supporter who tried to vote twice? Maybe you didn't request a ballot, but you got it and you voted anyways. Maybe you're mixing two people up. I'm just going out on a limb here and going, none of this actually carries any weight. That was it, by the way.
The first thing I will do is I will enter the...
And by the way, she was working in the mailing out part of this, and then I guess she volunteered later at a poll or something. Even Rudy doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Michigan poll worker, okay, who requested, let's see, says voters who requested mail-in ballots were allowed to vote again in person. This is the title. Look at the title of this fucking video. This is, Trump writes this on his site. This is his site. Michigan poll worker says voters who requested mail-in ballots were allowed to vote again in person. I'm just going to needle drop right in the middle of this goddamn clip.
Requested a ballot. I never received any ballot. I never requested for a ballot. Can I vote now? I'm here. I want to vote now. I said, of course. I mean, I can spoil the ballot.
That's his clip. That's the clip he picked. The shit is going on. Yes, we'll play the full drunk woman's testimony. Don't worry. We'll gather it up. Understand, this is important because these are the pieces that Trump is going, aha, and he's putting up. For fuck's sake, literally. Oh, we'll get the whole blonde, don't worry. But listen, look at what he titled. Michigan poll worker says voters who requested mail-in ballots were allowed to vote again in person. Double voting. Proof of double voting, son of a bitch. We got you. This is our witness. I picked this clip. There's a lot of it, but I picked 55 seconds of this woman, and there we go.
Said I never requested a ballot.
No, I never requested a ballot.
I never received any
I didn't receive a ballot.
I never requested for a ballot.
I never requested for a ballot.
Can I vote now?
Can I vote now? And her response, sure, vote again. I mean, as long as you're voting for Trump, would you like to vote twice for Trump? I heard a lot of Trump voters have not gotten their mail-in ballots at home, and they're completely telling the truth when they try to try to vote twice. But yeah, what was your response, ma'am, when they tried to vote twice?
I'm here. I want to vote now.
Okay, they're there.
I said, of course. I mean, I can spoil the ballot.
Okay. Welcome. I mean, honestly, have a big bowl of shut the fuck up with this nonsense. And again, this isn't a clip I picked to and I named it that. Trump named this. Michigan poll worker says voters who requested mail-in ballots were allowed to vote again in person. Halfway through the goddamn clip, at 39 seconds in, you don't even have to have the patience to listen for a minute. So, god damn, these people are dumb. We already saw her piece or whatever here. And then witness ballot says, this is a dude.
Then around 4:30.
This one's called Witness Says Ballots Were Carried In from the Rear of the Polling Station, Moon River. Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever served time? Polling station basement at 4:30 a.m. Carried in from the rear of the polling station basement at 4:30. What's the rear of the basement? Now, I remember this being, if you'll recall, this has been a 4:30 a.m. story. This has been a backroom 4:30 a.m. story. This has been the vans pulled up out front, but they were supposed to have food in them while they brought in stuff from the back. They never actually made that correlation. You were supposed to make it in your head. Now, this is the first time I'm hearing rear of the polling station, hello, basement at 4:30. This is fucking Pizzagate now.
30 a.m. we had an announcement that a new shipment of ballots were arriving.
An announcement? Was it a secret announcement? Was it a shh, everybody, more fake ballots are coming in the back door. Bend over and
yeah. And these boxes of ballots were brought in by Mr. Baxter himself at
Mr. Baxter himself, a person named in the
4:30 a.m.
4:30 a.m. on the night of the election.
From the rear of the room.
The rear of the room. Were you in the basement?
So I personally witnessed Mr. Baxter carrying boxes.
Okay. Mr. Baxter was carrying boxes.
From the rear.
From the rear.
Of the basement.
Of the basement.
Of the TCF Center into the tables. So
into the table. The rear of the basement in the TCF Center onto the tables. Okay.
Each box, I approximate 600 ballots.
Okay, so he's not a heavy lifter. Baxter is not. He's worried about his lower Baxter.
And it was like a full. What you have to know is that these tables, there's about 7 tables. They were 10-foot tables each.
Right.
Every table was full of boxes of ballots.
Weird. It was almost like it was election night or something.
It's not tens of thousands or 20,000.
Nah, hundreds.
I approximate 50,000 ballots were brought in. Now, were all of those ballots brought in from the rear entrance to the TCF Center?
Tell us.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you didn't even glance over your shoulder, kind of with a coquettish look on your face, just to check. Are those ballots coming in from the rear of the basement? I'll never tell.
They were brought in from the TCF Center, but there was a lot more than just the ones that...
By the way, the lady sitting next to him is the Indian woman who you might see the clip floating around saying that all Chinese people look alike. Yeah.
That were brought in from the rear entrance of the TCF Center.
Rear entrance or the rear basement? Wait, is it a basement if it has an entrance? That's another question for another time. That's a decent debate. It's no longer a basement. It's actually the ground floor. But what?
And I'm talking, this is the 6 a.m. This is when we're starting at 6 a.m. 4:35 a.m. It was 50,000 ballots on the table.
Sure.
Equal to the 2 rounds that we did before. We did a round around 10 p.m. to about 1 a.m. and then 1 a.m. to about 4 a.m. And then the boxes were brought in from the rear around 4:30. Then they had the shift change from around 5 to 6. So with the shift change, most of
those people didn't even know they were dealing with backdoor ballots.
the volunteers were tired at this
Yeah, they were confused. They didn't know what way it was forward or backwards. They thought these must be coming from the roof.
point. They only expected to be there from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
And then it turns out that we're in a pandemic and the mail-in ballots were extraordinary compared to normal elections when you're not in a fucking pandemic.
So
90
90+% of them left at 5 a.m. I decided to stick around. So they had the shift change. At 6.
So there was a shift change. Why would you have a shift change? Why would you even bother to have a shift change or one even be necessary if voting wasn't going to continue and they should have been done by then? Why would you even schedule another shift? Why indeed would those people who came in for that shift even go, why am I even here? They just called me.
6 a.m., Mr. Baxter and his management team
Baxter again
got back on the microphone and said, "This is what the new shift change, right? The new employees."
You're right.
Says this is what democracy is supposed to look like. Right in front of everyone, the whole room cheered.
Yeah. Yes, everyone is voting. Everyone is there to volunteer. There are a bunch of people who have volunteered. I love when they're like, they announced this like it wasn't even criminal or anything. Like, yeah, because it wasn't. The fuck? Say all Chinese people look alike again. Please do that part. So, all right, last one of this little crowd. I think that was it. Okay, so let's go to this is Rudy. Now I gotta see if whole blonde lady, is she in here before them or no? So here's Rudy, and then this is the other. That's where he farts, and then he farts again, and then that's Jenna Ellis. So it might be in the first part of this. Hold on, let me give me 1 second. Let me look at the find the part of this that, let's see, election. Let's see. I'm gonna grab that. I've got to copy something. Excuse me 1 second. There we go. Part 1. Senator on vote count. So this is the beginning of this? No. Jesus. Yeah, here it is. Okay.
No follow-ups. One question. Okay, that's how we're going to do it.
That's how we're going to do it.
Each.
That's how Dad did it, and it's worked pretty well so far.
The shenanigans. I was going to allow a little leeway.
Little shenanigans. We're not doing.
All right.
No, we are not doing no shenanigans.
We're going to do one question per witness. We're going to go through each one.
Yeah, we are.
I call them witnesses, but people who are testifying here.
Yeah, they're not really witnesses. It's an important distinction to make. They're people who are testifying, but they're not witnesses because we're not swearing them in.
And then lastly, at the end, Mr. Giuliani will take those questions.
Oh, boy, will he.
That's how we're going to do it.
That's how we're going to do it. Gotta do it.
So I understand Jesse Jacobs is first.
Could I have Jenna say a word or two?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, of course. Please, Jenna, take it away. And you might want to wear a mask. I have a feeling this is going to go south.
Why don't you go ahead?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the committee. And I appreciate your calling this session, Mr. Chairman, and that we have members that are both Democrats and Republicans here. But you're all here in your capacity as a legislator.
That's the first clip that they pulled, and so lazy on the other site.
And this is not a political question. This is a legal one. When you have...
no, it's a political question. The legal one's already been handled. It got certified.
What you will see before you as substantial evidence of fraud and corruption in an election.
Well...
it's your obligation under the United States Constitution
not to giggle too much,
to not allow the corruption to continue. And under Article 2, Section 1.2, the state legislators,
yep, we saw this part already.
The evidence and the testimony that we present today, we are going to be asking you to take action on this. You've already heard from...
take action. I mean, you can't because you you had a bill passed that you handed it over to the Board of Elections. But if we go to the Board of Elections, they tell us to go pound sand. So what we're trying to use is we're going to try to politically strong arm any of the Republicans who hope to have a career in the future by making them, answer to the Trump voters.
A number of witnesses and other people and evidence.
Yeah, witnesses and other people. People who aren't necessarily witnesses but are here out of the goodness of their heart.
Over the past day and a half. I would ask you all.
Dana Half. Dana Half, does she work for the Trump legal team? Hi, I'm Dana Half. I'm Dana Half, the legal team of, what time is it?
To put aside your party affiliation.
Yes, Republicans, put aside your party affiliation and see this for the raging, steaming pile of bullshit it is.
And look openly and honestly at these witnesses and this evidence.
Yes, and bring a hand fan.
Because here we're all Americans. And our founders specifically provided this tool, the state legislature.
He's sitting right there. This tool, she says.
To be able to combat corruption or foreign influence when that happens in an election.
I agree, but why are you bringing up Russia, Russia, Russia?
We sit before you today.
Next thing you know, you're going to bring out a witness who says that all women should be believed if they make an affidavit, which of course the president does not agree with.
On behalf of the President of the United States, but as he said today in a speech from the White House, it's his sworn duty and obligation to make sure that election integrity and free and fair elections are preserved in this country.
That's right. That's why he's here. That's what he cares about the most. That's why he's done nothing about election integrity and is not pressured Republicans when they've stymied election integrity and protection bills going through.
We will be asking you, after taking a look at the testimony presented today, to take that oath that you have made as state legislators very, very seriously. The law is on your side because the U.S. Constitution is on your side. And we would be happy to answer any questions about that at the end of this proceeding.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for your time and attention today.
Thank you, and there will be questions about
Oh, yes.
that, I assure you.
Oh, I assure you.
Are we ready for Ms. Jacobs? All right, please, Ms. Jacobs, when you're ready, come forward. Welcome to the House Oversight Committee.
Okay, we saw most of her stuff. You can see why there was I guess we can see what order these people testified in by how they came in. And again, your average American, wow, she spoke for a long time. And they only got a minute out of her that they wanted to show? Good God. Look at that.
And if we don't want to be kicked out, if we don't want to, I may not be because I'm brown, but all I'm saying is, but that was my trump card that I used all day. But then the thing is, that's not a privilege for a white person. So white people, I could see, were not even daring to ask a question, because if they were even a little bit louder, they would say, you're disturbing them, so they need to get out. And you have to understand the poll workers were getting...
Thank you for standing up against the idea that there's white privilege. What?
How are you finally taking a tally of it? I do not know that. All I'm here to tell is what I witnessed. I do not know, end of the day, have you put all of this data together and have you come up with a number? And if it's tallied like a balance sheet, great. I don't think we would be here if that tallied.
It does. That was the question the guy was making. I don't know why the video locks on this thing, but that's it. That's the whole part one is just her. Shit. Well, where's the other lady then? What the hell? Where is she? Where is she going?
Make your
Where is your part
any
two?
closing remarks you have, and it is an hour over what I said it was going to be. Sorry about that, everybody. But we wanted to hear these people. I know that
Hold on.
many feel that these people haven't been heard, so we wanted to provide an opportunity for people to bring forward their stories and be heard, and we've tried to do that today, as did the Senate, I think, yesterday, very well, the Senate Oversight Committee. But we wanted to offer you an opportunity
Where
to
is she?
speak.
Where's
and
blonde
then
lady?
I will let each member ask you a question.
Because this dude,
And so there's really, we've found
this is the dude who was talking. He was one of the election cyber
in
experts.
dealing with
He brought with him a thumb drive.
Pennsylvania and in Arizona There is no control. There is no chain of custody in the USB drives.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Workers can stick a USB drive in. We could stick a USB drive into any of your laptops. You don't know what's on there, and you can change software. You can change operating systems.
There's no chain of custody on hacking ever. But the thumb drives that are allegedly used to transport some of the information from the internals of the machines, which the Dominion machines don't even have, to the other machines, there's a chain of command on those cards you're talking about. What? Yeah, the USB-V cards.
And the core of...
This is the PsyOps guy. Yeah. Where? Okay, so... anybody know her... let's see, because this lady...
On an incremental basis to...
this half-nose wearing of your masks...
touch and feel and make sure that those ballot containers are secure.
Touch and feel and make sure that those ballot containers are secure, because sometimes if you don't caress them just right, they feel insecure. They don't feel like opening up. You know what I mean? They don't feel like they can blossom.
And they're labeled with a sticker that says this container is certified, and it's got the signatures of the board members on it.
Mm-hmm.
As I was walking through TCF Center, I located 5 ballot containers that had red "Do Not Use" labels on them. They were damaged. They were new containers that were ordered. They had manufacturing defects. The weld on the back seal, the seal on the welding on the back side was not completed properly, and you could slide paper in and out of the back of the boxes. Those...
You mean shit could fall out?
Containers that were used with the red labels will not be recountable. The chain of custody has been broken for those boxes.
Why? Why? Because you think in a full box of ballots, where more than likely, due to physics, things would fall out as opposed to get shoved in, the most someone could shove into the gaps created in the weld in these boxes is what? A dozen crinkled ballots? So we throw out 50,000 ballots, or however, I don't know how big these fucking boxes are, if they're Gaylords or not, but...
I was at TCF Center for 26 hours straight. I got there 9 o'clock election night. I left around 11 p.m. Wednesday evening after counting had been completed. They were working on closing up the poll books. There's a lot of other testimony from challengers that can describe the activities that happened.
Excuse me. One of the people that we saw earlier, who probably comes on after you, said that they were done counting at 4 a.m. and he's not even sure why other workers were coming in. You were there till 11? What the fuck for?
In there, I won't waste your time with that. I want to...
With what? Details?
Testimony from challengers that can describe the activities that happened in there. I won't waste your time with that. I want to...
Why? You're here. You were here the whole time. You can either corroborate or you will throw a monkey wrench in. So if you're not saying, I'm going to assume it's because you don't have the same story they have, or don't know what their story is and is afraid yours will conflict with what they're saying, and therefore will get it thrown out. So you're just lying in absentia?
I'm going to move on to the canvas. We had gone through the initial canvas of about 20% of the absentee counting boards, and realized that the number of voters in the poll book, so people cast, did not match the number on the tabulator tape, ballots cast. It is the job of the canvas, the counting canvas, to correct any mathematical errors, to make those two numbers balance or reconcile the difference.
Cool. How much was it off? 500, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 20? How much was it off? Was it human error? Was it because of you were misreading the tabulation?
The good news here
is
that the batches of ballots that may have been scanned multiple times, the job of the canvas is to catch that mathematical error and correct it. So if you have 100 voters, 100 ballots that were issued, and there's 300 ballots that were tabulated, you count the ballots in the box, it should match the ballots that were issued, 100, 100. You retabulate them, and that's corrected. Things you cannot catch in the canvas. You cannot catch date stamps on envelopes. You cannot catch the validity of a voter, whether they're dead or not.
Yeah, that's what the poll books are for. You also cannot insist that someone is dead who is alive who voted just because you don't like how they voted.
You cannot catch signature verification.
No, because that's not your fucking job. That's done in another room. You don't get to assume that somebody else who's taken an oath to do their job right is doing their job wrong because you don't like the outcome.
Those are things we do not look at within the canvas.
Yeah, because it's not your job in that part.
Just a little point of reference.
That's not a point of reference. The point of reference you're making is that you're a meter maid, you're not on the homicide squad, and therefore you don't get to screw up a crime scene by walking all over it because you consider yourself the same cop as somebody on the homicide squad. You don't get to tear up yellow tape and go, I'm a rogue cop with an attitude.
To help you manage through the details you're hearing.
That doesn't actually help. That muddies the water and hides other details.
An observation for...
It's an observation.
TCF Center.
It needs... The snack machine sucks.
In the primary, we had workers, poll workers working...
In the primary.
Long hours.
Mm-hmm.
There appeared to be a change in the general election where there were shifts of employees.
You mean because primaries bring out way fewer people than general elections do? And adults know this?
And I believe that was a positive change, was good to see.
Uh-huh.
So you didn't have people very, very, very tired trying to close these boxes out.
But you stayed there till 11 o'clock?
I did notice on the night...
Maybe you were tired and you were making bad decisions and you were misunderstanding things because you had been awake for 27 hours straight?
Shift, election night, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. the next morning. There were 134 counting boards. They had 5 workers at each table and supervisors throughout. The majority of that shift, those workers were not processing ballots. They were sitting idle. So as you're looking forward to legislation...
So there were more people than they needed. So when the election judges and the volunteers and all that kind of stuff, when they say they were thrown out, it's because they already had more people than they needed at all these stations. Fuck, these people are dumb.
And concerns about, do we need more time to process these ballots? The time is not involved in actually going through the ballots or scanning them through the tabulators. It's the adjudication process. And the adjudication process is a screen. If there's a ballot that the machine can't read, two humans have to view that ballot on a screen and make a determination. That process is the bottleneck in the timeline that it took to get through processing the absentee ballots in Detroit. So as you move...
Because there were more than the necessary judges and they were screaming shit?
Forward with potential legislation, maybe look at some funding sources to get the right amount of equipment to help them get through that.
You mean more of the signature verification machines that Rudy Giuliani wants thrown out?
Back to the canvas.
Back to the canvas.
The numbers not matching.
Right.
20% into processing the absentee ballots, we realized we had a large portion that did not match. And it's standard procedure to contact the clerk when you have that happen to ask if they have any envelopes that may not
Did not match by what standard?
Be scanned. If they have anything stuck in an auxiliary bin, ask them for a corrected list if possible. We did not get corrected statement of voters, so people cast, until 13 days after the election. It was the afternoon, the day before certification, when a large black tote was brought into the canvas containing multiple precincts' new voter lists.
Right, because of people who wanted voted in person, but the local Republicans throughout the state of Michigan were denying the release of those documents?
Some of those voter lists managed to make the balances work out. At the end of the day, less than 24 hours later, the canvass was given a verbal report for the plus and minus. We were not provided with an executive summary written, even though I requested one.
Oh. Well, if you requested one, I don't know why they didn't snap two.
And that oral report, my quick math showed that 71% of the counting boards, and we've got to be careful because in the primary we were talking precincts, now we're talking counting boards, which are, it's a different math formula.
Sure.
But 71% of those counting boards were unexplained without, were unbalanced without explanation.
By how much? 4? Were they short or were there too many? Were they all short or were they all too many? I mean, do you have notes? Did you write them down? You heard this. They basically told you what was in them and told you to fuck off because they were busy doing their job and you were busy being a busybody. But at what point are we supposed to take any of what you're saying seriously? 70% of them didn't match up. Even with the magic duffel bag, why would you bring in a magic duffel bag to screw the whole process and make sure that it hides all your criminality? How am I supposed to be suspect about the magic duffel bag if it didn't even do its goddamn job?
Having less than 24 hours to get corrected voter lists and going through 134 counting boards to make those differences is not a lot of time.
No, it isn't. And it's not your job, and you're only doing it to drag the process.
And that is why I originally voted no on the certification, because I believe the state needed 10 more days to continue to dig through that to find those explanations.
Right.
As you continue to move forward through legislation,
In the future, during an election, during a pandemic, there's a couple of notes I have.
With the information I was giving, I can't tell if there was an issue with missing scanning envelopes, if there's an issue with the voter file, with the poll books, with the supplemental lists, with the unlisted list. I don't have that information to be able to know to tell you how to fix that.
If indeed there was a problem at all.
List, I don't have that information to be able to know to tell you.
You don't have it.
How to fix that.
Yeah.
But getting corrected information 13 days after the election is not the way to go about it.
But it was corrected information. Before the certification, you were given correct information.
And one more item to note, in the State Board of Canvassers meeting, Daniel Baxter said that
Fucking Baxter again.
they did not issue any revised poll lists. I don't know if he was misinformed or misspoke, but there were clearly an entire tote of revised lists delivered the day before the certification.
Which didn't balance out 70% of what was going on. So apparently maybe those extra books that came in the black duffel were actually sent in by Republican boards throughout the state to try and screw the entire certification process?
And I'm happy to answer any questions, and due to time, if you have additional questions, please reach out to me afterwards.
All right, thank you, Monica. And I heard stories about how you were threatened and bullied and attacked by a lot of these radical left-wing people, and so I have my sympathies for that, and you have my sympathies for that. I know you've been through a lot, and it's courageous for you to be here and testifying today, so thank you.
Well, yeah, but it's also, I mean, if indeed she was threatened by genuinely quote-unquote left-wing people, if they weren't right-wing people threatening her to make it look as if. Did we catch anyone? Is anyone in jail? These alleged threats? Okay, let's jump ahead to Rudy's statement, and then we'll find Blondie.
Many feel that these people haven't been heard, and so we wanted to provide an opportunity for people to bring forward their stories and be heard, and we've tried to do that today.
By the way, yes, please, you, hold on. Someone's, I love when people get up. And by the way, thanks, trolls, for boosting our numbers again. I appreciate that. It's nice to see you guys here.
As did the Senate, I think, yesterday, very well, the Senate Oversight Committee. But we wanted to offer you an opportunity to speak, and then I will let each member ask you a question. All right? So go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, this represents the affidavits of the witnesses that we didn't have the time to call.
These are the affidavits we didn't have time for.
Yeah, make sure that
So you're going to give them a copy of it?
that button's
I'm
pushed.
sorry.
Thanks. Go
This
ahead.
represents the affidavits of the people that we didn't get a chance to call. There are hundreds of them, and they specifically allege similar acts of fraud, very similar to the witnesses that you heard.
So they don't.
I find it puzzling
I have no doubt about that.
that there seems to be such confusion about it.
Why? You look confused right now.
Maybe because of my background as a prosecutor.
What background is that? You mean helping the mob launder some bad guys through the judicial system so that the rest of their organization can be protected, or indeed running the Italian mob out of New York so that the Russian mob can take over? You mean like that?
Pretty obvious to me what happened here.
What's obvious? What happened? Tell
The
us.
Democratic leader in Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania, or in Philadelphia, or in Detroit, or in Las Vegas,
Wherever.
or in Phoenix,
Everywhere.
or in Milwaukee,
Schlemiel.
or in Minneapolis, or in Atlanta, didn't wake up.
Oh, they didn't wake up and think, maybe we'll all run people out of the court. It's a RICO thing.
On election morning, when all those mail ballots were going to come in and decide we're going to shut out all the Republican poll watchers.
No, it could be that they didn't have a bunch of Republican poll watchers to run out simply because it was, normally that doesn't happen, but you ran large groups of rally-going psychopaths from the Trump campaign down to slow down the count of the mail-in ballots because you didn't want them to count, and you overran the system, and every one of those places reacted like you would when a bunch of assholes with long guns are banging on the glass.
Or as many as we can. I mean, we've been counting absentee ballots forever. I did
No, you haven't.
it myself when I was a young lawyer.
Why?
Republican sits on one side, Democrat sits on the other side. We don't have any problem with it.
Yeah, it's almost, in those non-pandemic years, there's barely any of them.
This was uniform shutting out of as many Republicans as possible.
This was uniform charging of vote tallying centers by Republicans on behalf of the Trump campaign, coordinated across the country, and the reaction was normal.
In Pennsylvania, 890,000 ballots were cast secretly.
They were not cast secretly. Just because the place holds 200 election judges, and they had 200 election judges, and you sent 500 more down there, and they told them to fuck off and stand behind a wall because they already had enough people, and those people clamored, said, I was shut out, I had to go buy binoculars to watch. I could barely see the screens that they put up for me to watch.
With no Republican getting a chance to take a look at the ballot.
That's a lie, which is one of the reasons why Rudy is not under oath right now. If Rudy was under oath and stated that, or presented that to the court as fact, he would be censured, disbarred, or found in contempt.
In Pennsylvania, there are 600,000 more votes counted, mail votes counted, than mail ballots they can find.
Mm-hmm.
This is a swindle.
No, you happen to think that in Wisconsin, the fact that they call in-person early voting absentee ballot voting, that you should find an envelope for a person who picked up a ballot right there in person, filled it out, and handed it back to the clerk.
It's a con job.
No, it's actually how it works.
It's a theft of an election.
No, it isn't.
And it was carried out by the same method in the city of Detroit. And with all due respect to Detroit.
Yes, please show some respect to Detroit. We'd all like to see it. Sorry.
Several analyses of corrupt cities. My city, New York, comes ahead of Detroit. So I'm not saying this with any pride.
Oh, so basically we can't trust the election that made you mayor. because it was held far before many of the checks and balances that we now digitally have on our elections so that we can audit them and re-audit them. I mean, people were stuffing ballots back then like crazy. So you're no longer America's mayor is what you're saying.
But it happens to be one of the most corrupt cities in the United States. On any measure, I just checked online here, it comes in 4th, 5th, 3rd, 7th, 8th. Several times New York comes in ahead. So I wonder why the confusion about what happened?
Because you're a terrible attorney and you can't present a case, and the case that you have to present is garbage?
They stole the election. It's not the first one they stole.
Who's they? Black people? It's black people, isn't it?
Not the last one they're going to steal unless you
Got to stop these black people. They're going to steal all the elections from now on.
do something about it. But you do something real, not, let's see how we're going to fix it. You've been fixing it for years.
Yeah, right. They did fix it. That's why the people overseeing it were like, yeah, this is a clean and fair election. This worked.
And it hasn't gotten fixed.
Yeah, apparently it did.
They've been stealing elections for years. And this time, they got a chance to steal it really big because of the ridiculous mail ballot that was created.
Mail balloting was created?
Back in 1960.
Back in 1960. Take us back, Rudy. Whoops.
The mayor of Chicago.
The mayor of Chicago in 1960.
The most corrupt city in America, by the way.
And in 1960, sure.
Just in case, on all the lists, by far, we can all feel better. Chicago's the most corrupt.
In 1960?
He helped to steal the 1960 election by holding back the ballots in Chicago, so the Republican ballots would come in, and then along with a gentleman named Sam Giancana, they got the ballots they needed to elect their candidate. Last year, 2 years ago in Florida, the same thing happened in Palm Beach and Broward County. It was a
so we shouldn't trust that Trump won Florida last time either.
two-point election, Senate, governor. Palm Beach County took 2.5 weeks to report. And finally it ended when they caught a truck like the one coming from Bayport, New York to Philadelphia. They caught a truck in Jacksonville headed to Palm Beach with 100,000 ballots that pretended to be Palm Beach ballots, but they were done up in Jacksonville. And then they had to end the election, and they prosecuted the people in Palm Beach. And remember, this year, we had no problem in Florida.
So there was no problem with this, that people who try to do voter fraud get caught, is what you're saying.
I mean, you were counting for an eternity. Florida was over with that night because the governor had the courage to
because the governor was Republican and threw it to Trump?
Straighten it out. He had the courage to prosecute the people who committed the fraud.
He wasn't the governor when that shit happened.
You don't end fraud by prospective measures to deal with fraud. You know how you end fraud?
You disbar Rudy Giuliani.
You put criminals in jail. That's how you end fraud. You have the courage. You have the courage.
Yeah, you must have the courage as the state legislature of where the fuck are we to throw the president-elect in jail because Rudy Giuliani's witnesses said they didn't like what they saw? What is this? Yeah.
To say that certification that was done by your state is a complete phony. It's a false statement made to the United States government. Those are prosecutable, by the way.
No, they're not.
That's not the vote by any means.
Yes, it is.
In Michigan. That's not the vote in Michigan.
No, it's not the vote in Michigan. It's the vote of Michigan.
I don't know what the vote in Michigan is, but it's at least 300,000 or 400,000 votes off from what the real vote in Michigan is.
You're probably right. 300,000 people probably voted for Biden more than were shown. But then, of course, Louis DeJoy slowed down the mail, and so a lot of that stuff got delayed.
And you heard the anger and the upset of your citizens. They seem to have more passion about it than you do.
Well, first of all, I'm not quite sure that they are our citizens as such. They could be carpetbaggers like yourself, storming around the country pretending to give a shit.
They figured out what happens because they live on the street.
Do they? You brought in homeless people?
They know what happens in Detroit. Don't scratch your head about what happens in Detroit. They steal elections in Detroit.
Representative, you'll have an
And
opportunity
they steal
to
elections
ask a
in New York,
question.
and they steal elections in Boston, and they steal elections in Philadelphia. And the Democrats were smart enough to pick 10 corrupt cities to play their game out.
You mean the cities in the country that have the highest financial output and that many would register on their own as some of the wealthiest countries in the world? So they're run by Democrats. They've been corruptly run by Democrats, but they provide more wealth to the country than all the other cities combined. The other 9,000 some odd major metropolitan and minor metropolitan areas. Huh?
10 cities in which they could get away with it.
Oh, you mean the rich idiots? The rich cities?
10 cities in which they could go into court and find a hack judge that will decide anything they want.
Why aren't you in court? Oh, right, because you don't have the right to practice law in any of these states.
So, I mean, we can live in this strange world all we want, but we're getting at the point where our freedoms are beginning to be eroded.
Well, I mean, you're trying.
Our right
Don't let it happen.
to free speech has been eroded substantially by the censorship imposed by big tech, big media.
Excuse me? Your right to free speech? Sorry, their free speech as a company is that they may carry whatever messages that fit within the guidelines that they've set up as an organization or not. You can always go someplace else. You're on YouTube right now with all this bullshit. This was aired all the way through on multiple channels on YouTube. Where's the censorship? Look, this was a live video. 770 people watched it. I mean, I've got more viewers myself, Rudy. But
Big corporations and the Democrat Party.
Yep.
Our right of freedom of religion, with the ridiculous dictatorial way in which the COVID regulations are imposed on us, like they like to be dictators.
Oh, you mean the part where they don't want churches to gather more than 50 people inside because people will die, and a lot of the people who go to church are older in this country, and it astronomically affects them at a greater level, and they shouldn't be exempt? Are you fucking dumb?
These Democrat governors, they're taking away our right of the freedom of religion.
No, they aren't. No one's being persecuted or martyred. You just can't gather in groups this year during a fucking pandemic, you dolt.
Those are basically the two reasons we founded this country.
Jog on. First of all, freedom of speech is the government won't impact your right to speak. But a newspaper or an organization, or indeed, I don't have to hand you my megaphone to yell your shit in the town square. Get your own. That's freedom of speech. Everybody has freedom of speech. You don't have free access to a microphone. Earn it, dipshit. You've got your own show on YouTube. What are you talking about? You think your freedom of speech is being denied because they won't carry this bullshit live on CNN? Eat a bag of frog assholes. This is a waste of time. And secondly, freedom of religion. No one's religious beliefs are being curtailed. The right to worship their God of choice. But gathering in large groups right now gets people killed. And out of respect for the parishioners that indeed many of the priests, ministers, and rabbis and imams themselves don't have.
By the way, there was a third.
Don't have. The government has to go, look, we don't care about anybody's religion. You can be as religious as you want. But all religions equally can have gatherings over this size.
The right to freely and honestly elect our government. And they're taking that away from us, too. It should not go without notice.
That Bush v. Gore was ruled poorly and that Gore actually won Florida in the final recount months later? Is that what you're going to say? Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to say that Hillary actually won Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin?
And you should spend time taking a look at Pennsylvania. Look at Philadelphia. Look at...
Why? They're the Michigan legislature, dickhead. Make your case in the court you're in.
Pittsburgh. Look at how eerily similar it is to what these people testified to.
Eerily similar? You mean that your people from your organization bull charged all of these places and are making the exact same accusations everywhere?
Read the rest of these.
Thank you,
and
Barbara.
See that there are hundreds of people that back them up. That election center in Detroit was a disgrace. You should be ashamed of it as citizens of Michigan. I would be ashamed of it if it was in New York, and it could easily be in New York.
Right. Especially, well, that explains how you got elected.
And I would do everything in my power to make sure
that it benefited you and not your opponent.
Never happened again. And I would never certify an election or have my name associated with anything that was false.
Right. Neither would any of the women who've accused Trump of rape.
Now, it is your responsibility
to allow E. Jean Carroll her day in court with the president and get a DNA sample?
Do that. Not the governor, not the Secretary of State.
No, the governor and the Secretary of State, yeah.
You were given that responsibility by our founding fathers.
No. They were given the right to choose whatever method they would like, to choose the electors. They don't have to do it themselves.
They decided who would be the final arbiter, who should overlook a presidential election.
And they gave it to the state legislatures to decide what manner they would like those electors to be chosen.
And in Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2,
read it again.
Power is given to you. In the McPherson case in 1892, the United States Supreme Court made clear that you can take that power back any time you want to.
So you can also hand it out anytime you want to. Right? If you can take a power back, you can also give the power away. Otherwise, why would you need the right to take it back at any time if you didn't legally have the right to give it away? Huh?
Anytime. You can take it back tonight. You can take it back the day before the electors go down to Washington.
Yeah, they're not going to.
You can take it back anytime you want.
And yeah, vote for that right now. And they won't have a majority, and who cares?
In case you think it's old law, it was reiterated in Bush v. Gore.
When there was a 500 vote difference in one of the most populous states in the country, and Gore actually ended up winning it.
You have the right to take it back. You are the final arbiter of how honest or not your election is in your state.
Yes, and please choose not on behalf of the Trump campaign.
And it's your responsibility to stand up to that. And
they are.
They're
standing up to you.
Tell you is,
that's Jenna Ellis.
We let him get away with this. I don't know what happens after this.
You get into legal trouble unless the president pardons you, but then you still have state ramifications. I'm guessing that's what all this is about.
This was a concerted plan to fix this election. There's no way that Donald Trump was ahead by 800,000 votes going to bed at night, that he was ahead here by 300,000 votes.
Yeah, so you might want to talk about the state you're in. And yes, when the most populous counties in the state, when he's got 300,000 votes ahead because all the little red counties and the UP have all filled in their ballots and sent them in, but they're delaying the volume because of the millions of people that live in the Detroit and Grand Rapids area, and then those finally come in, and it's way more than you would need to actually win the state. Yeah, there's a reason to hold off on that certification. And you know this, and this is dumb.
That he was ahead in Wisconsin by 400,000 votes. That he was ahead in every state.
Wasn't ahead. You're ahead in the counting, not in the voting.
That over a 4 or 5 day period with this ridiculously corrupt system of counting, they turned around with ballots coming in the back door.
Hello.
Ballots being driven down from New York. There's no way that this wasn't stolen.
Yeah, it is. This was a legitimate election. Your dude lost. I know it's hard to deal with, but what are you going to do?
And what it takes is
you to break wind?
Courage. Courage.
Tell him, Coach.
Not to be afraid of
what's
happened to these poor people.
Yes.
They've got guts.
They do have guts. Some of them have. You have guts. You have a colon at least. We're about to find that out.
Stand up to what the Democrats do to them.
Look at that. He's looking over at the Democratic side of the bench.
And it's not just the wild and crazy left-wing Democrats who do it.
No, it's the center left. Right? It's the center right. It's Joe Manchin, I really think.
They do it as a way of bullying us.
Aw. I'm glad you're against bullying now. You're going to wear purple?
You can see their behavior in this hearing. I can see the difference in behavior between two sides. Maybe sometimes we're too nice.
That's what it is. Yeah. Why aren't you shooting them, Rudy?
Maybe sometimes we're too decent.
No. I'm going to go out on a limb and say anyone who's seen the Borat movie or the fact that you're about to fart twice in court or in this hearing doesn't think you have a problem with being too decent.
Well, maybe we shouldn't change. But one thing we should have.
Yeah, stay the same. Don't go changing to tuck your penis. We've all heard you fart before. Ooh, poor Jenna. She had it coming. She brought you tacos for your lunch.
We have the ability to defend ourselves and not let our people get kicked around the way those Republicans were kicked around.
By kicked around, we mean asked to leave because there were too many of them.
We wouldn't let it happen, and we shouldn't let it happen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With that, and I asked the crowd,
Totally.
let's be respectful.
Yeah.
I think one thing I've made, sir, please, sir, you're out of line.
Wham! Asking him to be respectful while Rudy's talking. The dude says no respect for cheaters while he's talking over. Oh, God.
We're having a legislative hearing here, so.
Ish.
I've said all members of this committee, if they wish, can ask a question. I hope we're respectful about that. So, with that, I'll allow Representative LeGrand.
So, Mr. Giuliani, I really just have one question for you. We heard testimony tonight that you got an affidavit from one of these witnesses on November 8th, witness who talked about tens of thousands of ballots being riffed through a machine. Mm-hmm. We had another witness who talked about ballots being double counted, who said that her affidavit dates back to November 3rd. You opened your statement, you made, in your opening statement, you referenced 700,000 fraudulent ballots in Detroit, which is problematic given that there were only 250,000 counted. My question is, given that we have paper ballots...
Yeah, there's a slight flaw in your argument, Mr. Giuliani, in that you said there were 700,000 illegal ballots, and we only counted 200,000 of them. Where play? Oh, it's loading. The timing is terrible. Just happens. Almost. Here we go.
Ballots in Michigan. Why on earth did you not ask for a recount?
Well, there'd be no reason to ask for a recount because you just recount the same fraudulent ballots. Once you have separated the envelope from the absentee ballot or mail-in ballot, you are forever unable to audit them. That's the reason why it is so critical that they...
No, they have a poll book that shows how many people voted and were registered to vote, and a volume of votes. If there's a mismatch, then they...
be inspected. That's the...
I don't even know why I'm talking to Mr. SATs.
Reason why from time immemorial that's been done and honored by both...
Time immemorial. You'll recall most cave paintings will show the Dominion voting machines. That's why we know they're not trustworthy.
Political parties. And honored in the breach by your political party, this time nationwide. 71%. There is no way...
Look at this dude just yelling over the show. And yeah, the red tie belly over here is yelling in support of Rudy.
There is no way... When they recounted in Atlanta, they just recounted all of the same fraudulent ballots.
So weird. It's almost as if they have a poll book and a barcode that associates the poll book and the ballot itself without identifying the voting record of the human being, just the fact that their ballot was actually counted. So
there's no way to trace those ballots, and that's why the
yeah, there is. They all have a barcode.
Inspection is so critical.
They all have a barcode. I mean, just because you think it's 1960 doesn't mean it is.
And that's why, please don't, I don't need
Sir,
help. Believe me.
please,
I don't need help.
let's allow the conversation. Let's stop yelling in the crowd. Thank
And
you.
the reality is, if your political
I don't need help. Yeah, he does.
party had not
A cork, maybe.
bullied, pushed people around, intimidated people, stopped them from doing their job as inspectors,
Or told them to go back to their station because they were where they weren't supposed to be. And in an election, you don't want just random fuckos wandering wherever they want during a counting process just because they think they deserve the right to be there. Just that kind of throws the whole security of the election thing into question.
this would not have happened.
Thank you. Representative Camilleri.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Giuliani, this committee heard testimony from a bipartisan group of county clerks in Michigan. One was a Democrat and two were Republicans. They testified that they found no evidence whatsoever of widespread irregularities in this election, and they lauded the municipal clerks and their teams who run elections in Michigan for their tireless effort and commitment to free, fair, and safe elections. Your team has now lost 39 court cases in the aftermath of the election, with judges ruling that there is inadequate evidence to support the sweeping claims that you are making and repeating here tonight, and the unprecedented relief that you are seeking. Yesterday, we learned that U.S. Attorney General William Barr has similarly found no evidence whatsoever of widespread
Darren Camilleri came to play.
irregularities that are worth investigating. If our local clerks, state and federal judges across the country, and the highest ranking law enforcement official in the United States cannot find any substance to or any merit in any of your arguments, why should we? Why should we sit here in the show that you are partaking in and taking around the country if no one has found any evidence whatsoever of any of your wrongdoing? And why should we not believe the reported attempts of you to try to seek a pardon from the president?
That was where he drops that. Like, why shouldn't that pardon, the fact that you're seeking a pardon, be part of what we should take into account when you're discussing? And of course, he's about to fart.
What was the last part?
That last part is not.
You're attempting to seek a pardon, so why is this not part of that?
I will ask that he be disciplined for that. First of all.
Ew. Apparently, that made him nervous.
I will ask that he be disciplined for that. First of all.
Hold on.
Second of all.
First of all, what he says is untrue. Second, that is a defamation of my professional character.
Well, that was a fart, is what it was.
Do you allow that? Do you allow that to happen in your legislature?
As I said,
I said reported.
As I said, Representative, let's keep it limited to the germane issue here. So,
Just for
Mr.
the
Giuliani,
record,
let me
just
ask
for the
the
record,
question.
we haven't lost 39 cases. We've only brought 3. So you're wrong about that. Second,
who's we? Just because you're not involved because you're not legally able to.
The reason why people are
So you've lost 3 then.
reaching those conclusions is because, like you, they don't have the discipline, maybe the intelligence, I don't know, to read through this, and to read 20 more like it. You can't tell me there's no evidence when I have a couple of thousand affidavits from people.
You don't have a couple of thousand. Notice how it just went from a couple of hundred to a couple of thousand. I think what he probably means is pages, but I like how after farting in public, he just becomes so flustered that he adds at least 1,800 affidavits.
You can't tell me that your credibility
You can't handle the farts.
is better than the credibility of those people.
Give it to
They
'em.
swore under oath. You didn't.
Yes, they do. And by the way, none of these people are under oath today. The affidavits they signed are just about whether or not they believe what they saw versus what they really saw. It doesn't prove they saw what they saw. They're saying what they think they saw or what they think are irregularities. That doesn't mean they actually saw anything criminal or wrong. It just means that they have shit on their glasses, so they see turds everywhere. Meanwhile, that dude took an oath. That guy's a legislator. You're not. You're not in a courtroom in Michigan because you don't have the right to serve as a lawyer in a courtroom in Michigan.
And you seem very, very free to lie.
Mr. Giuliani.
You seem very free to lie. Why is he free to lie? Everything he said was true. Every single part of it.
Representative,
I'm just
you have a
hoping-
point of order?
I'm just hoping to get an answer to the other questions about Mr. Barr and others who have disproven a lot of
Representative,
I gave you the
do you have a
answer.
point of order?
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness.
This whole line of questioning is loosening Rudy's bowels something fierce.
I gave you the
do you have a
answer.
point of order?
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness. Just like you, they don't want to know the truth. Well, you probably know the truth. I'm worried about their not wanting to know the truth.
They're afraid they're downwind from the truth.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Oh, she
Representative
totally
Seager.
flinched. Look at her.
Like you, they don't want to know is they didn't bother to interview a single
Watch her.
witness. The
you have a
answer.
point of order?
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness. Just like you, they don't want to know the truth. Well, you probably know the truth. I'm worried about their not wanting to know the truth.
The Republicans? Yeah, because his big concern is the Democrats are going, you're full of shit. The Republicans are going, he's full of shit, but I can't say he's full of shit because I'll catch hell from Trump and all the crap. Well, yeah, I'm glad you could be here today, Mr. Giuliani. Thank you for serving. It's great. Fantastic. We'll take it under advisement. God damn, this dude's full of shit. He's literally, I think he actually, well, he might not be full of shit. He may have just shit.
Thank you. Representative C.A. Johnson.
Well, I want to take the time to thank everybody and to thank you, Mr. Giuliani. And I will take the time to
A little comedy happening here. It's nice of her.
just give some quotes that some of my constituents made today. Our elected officials should be condemning,
What is your question, Representative?
Sir,
I'm asking you, what is your
no,
question?
I don't have a question. I would like
If
to.
you don't have a question, then we're going to move on, Representative.
No, that is not fair, sir.
Representative
because
Riley, we're
our
gonna move
elected
on.
officials should be condemning, not
I'm sorry, you're out of order, Representative. You're out of
Get
order.
her, CA.
You're out
Get
of
him,
order.
CA.
You don't have a question, you're out of order. Representative, you're out of order. You're out of order, Representative. You're out of
I think that nail is already in the desk. I'm just going to say.
order, ma'am. You're out of order, Representative. You're out of order, ma'am. You're out of order, Representative.
Sorry.
Representative Riley.
Thank you. Mr. Giuliani. So,
So, you're awesome. Thanks for being here.
thank you. Mr. Giuliani. So, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that there was real concern before this election by many individuals that there was going to be some crimes committed. And I think one of the ways that we saw that is when we realized that the training that was put on really revealed that it was going to be intentional to mislead some of the poll workers, et cetera,
Egg cetera. I love eating at egg cetera.
on what to do in the situations that were coming up. So
I mean when Trump supporters try to vote twice?
prior to the election, when we saw the training, there was
All right. I honestly, we're not going to hear anything from these guys. Hang on one second, and I'm going to find the blonde lady. 1 second. Give me a second, because I don't know why this. Let's see, where is she? That's part one. Is that part one? That's part two. Okay, so this is I don't know why she got left out of. Where is she in the process? I got to find this in this.
I have
okay. So yeah. Let's see. Probably going to be under like Dominion employee testifies at blah blah blah. Let's see. Blonde Dominion employee. Michigan. I don't know why her whole thing is not showing up in that whole thing. Melissa Carone. Hey, how you doing? It's Melissa Carone. All right. Let's see. Where is she? Come on, Melissa Carone. Come on through the whole thing. I gotta see this whole thing. Was I'll just do it. I gotta. It's on the air. Hold on. So fun. All right, give me 1 second. Let's see. This is her whole thing. Where's her? Where is her full? There's 4 minutes of it. There's 5 minutes of it. There's 8 minutes of it. Where's she? Strikes again. Let's see.
We'd appreciate that, sir.
Here we go.
So with that, please, Melissa, we'd like to hear your story.
Boy,
And please,
would
when
we.
you're ready, proceed.
Melissa, why don't you tell
please.
us your name and tell us,
Melissa.
and as briefly as you can, what happened when you were working for Dominion.
Yeah, tell us. You were working for Dominion. We want to know the facts. Please, Melissa, tell us your name, Melissa.
Sure. My name is Melissa Carone.
I'm a Victoria Jackson character from 1991.
I was contracted to work for Dominion voting systems.
And I was allegedly let go because of alleged day drinking. Look, purple teeth are not a crime.
I'm a freelance IT worker.
Mm-hmm. She's a freelance IT worker. Not if you look it up, but okay.
I was contracted to work for Dominion to assist with IT during the...
To assist with IT? To assist with IT? That's going to be important later, I think.
The election. I started work at 6 a.m. on November 3rd at the TCF Center.
Okay.
I got off work at 5 a.m. November 4th.
So you got some overtime. Sweet. Cha-ching. They probably just made you an independent contractor, didn't pay you, right? Damn. Dominion's probably non-union, right? Friggin' Canadians. Am I right? Yeah, the hair looks nice. It is. She's got a good mane.
Went home, went to bed.
As you do.
Returned to work at 10 a.m. November 4th. Stayed until approximately 2 p.m.
She went to bed for 4 hours? Okay.
p.m. November 4th.
Wait.
Returned to work at 10 a.m.
Back up.
Got off work at 5 a.m. November 4th.
Uh-huh.
Went home, went to bed.
Uh-huh.
Returned to work at 10 a.m. November 4th.
Okay, so she went home, got 4 hours sleep, tucked the kids into to breakfast, pulled up 2 sheets of bacon and a pillow, and had some breakfast, and then went back to work.
Stayed until approximately 2 p.m. November 4th.
So from 10 to 2, so she was a driver that day.
When I got off,
Watch it.
I had a doctor's appointment. I was supposed to come back to work. One of the Dominion employees, he's in my affidavit, his name is Samuel, texted me and said, "We're almost done counting ballots. We don't need you to come back." It was getting a little rowdy when I left. I really didn't want to come back anyway.
Yeah, seriously.
It
was getting a little rowdy? Why would it if there were too few people there and there was almost no one there, especially during the shift changes and stuff? Why would it be rowdy?
So that is why I was contracted to work for Dominion, assisting with IT.
That was why? Why? Because you would work long hours without getting overtime, sleep 4 hours, go back to work, and then when they told you you didn't have to work, you didn't come back because it was rowdy? That's what we're looking for in an employee. Is if somebody from work that you know just says, "Well, we don't really need you," don't show up. That'd be the what? That's it.
And when you were working there, what did you observe?
What happened? What was it? What were the things you were concerned about? Let's see.
I observed numerous employees, city workers, running batches of ballots through the tabulators.
Oh my God. You're not going to tell me they were tabulating ballots in a vote tabulator, are you? What has this country gone? What in the world?
Countless times.
Countless. Well, apparently it wouldn't be countless because it's the tabulator counts. That's the fuck a tabulator is for. Right? What did the fuck do you... A tabulator. A tabulator, by definition, doesn't do things countless times. Considering its entire purpose is to count shit.
Discarding them first.
Wait, what?
Batches of ballots through the tabulators. Countless times without discarding them first. The tabulating machine.
How the fuck do you tabulate something that you've thrown away? What? All right. I don't think any of this is going to make sense. I got to keep going.
Would jam 2 to...
Oh, if the machines would jam, if it jammed, do you think they would try to run it through again?
3 times an hour. When they would jam, the correct process would be to pull out the problem ballot that jammed. Say the problem ballot was number 24 out of 50.
Sure.
Number
24 out of 50.
I wasn't allowed to touch any hardware at all.
Yeah, of course not. You're working in IT. Why would you?
I would assist them, tell them to pull out this ballot.
Slower. Sorry.
Put the problem ballot on top. In Michigan, our ballots from the tabulators don't just drop into steel ballot boxes.
No.
They are now, as they got tabulated, they are now on top of the tabulating machine.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Sure.
So instead of them taking these, so say, let's keep it number 25.
24. It was 24. But let's say 24 and 25 are both fucking problems. Maybe let's just ballpark.
Ballot, it got jammed.
Right. 25 got jammed, but it's 24 was just collateral damage. Poor vote number 24.
So the computer would throw an error. It would say...
Just throw an error. What, between first and second base? Or would it just kind of like, did it bounce off the wall and they tried to get it to second, but it just, I mean, they ended up with the double play?
Ballot number 25.
What happened to 24? Did it die? Why does no one care about 24 anymore?
There's an error. I would say pull out ballot number 25. Slowly pull it out. Put it...
Slowly. Don't, you guys. Don't.
There's an error. I would say pull out ballot number 25. Slowly pull it out. Put it on top.
Yeah. I like this story.
Take out ballot 25, pull it out slowly, put it on top.
Take the,
Rudy's I don't know what this gesture is, but go for it.
The ballots that had already been tabulated, which are on top of the tabulating machine now.
Are they under 25 or are they over 25? That sounded bad.
Put them all back in a stack, discard the entire batch, and re-scan it. Instead of discarding, they were just rescanning, counting ballots 9 to 10 times, counting votes 9 to 10 times.
So they were counting the same ballot, the same vote, 9 or 10 times?
Yes, sir. They were counting them 9
or 10 How many times?
And you didn't go, you have to clear the ballots. You have to clear the ballots. You guys are not clearing the ballots. You didn't take a video of you like, guys, they're not clearing the ballots. You can call your supervisor over and go, they're not clearing the ballots. They have to clear the ballots. They ain't clearing the ballots in the tabulator. They're just putting them back through and not realizing that they're counting the same ones again and again, even though there's a barcode on them. And if it sees the same barcode twice, it'll kick them out. Anybody in IT would know that. But what do you know? You're in, oh, yeah, right.
How many times did you observe that?
These machines would jam 2 to 3 times an hour.
So they were only putting the ones that jammed through. So the ones that jammed didn't register. So they had a stack. They stacked the ones that went through. They would just move to the already counted pile. And they would take the ones that jammed and they created a small batch of them and they tried to feed them separately. Right.
Each machine, there were approximately 22 to 24 tabulating machines in the TCF center.
So every 3 to 5 minutes, they were running another 9,000 ballots through just for the shit of it. There's no video or pictures of this, of course. And of course, the ultimate ballot number, if you kept doing that every 3 to 5 minutes and kept running batches through, the number of ballots would outnumber, like Rudy's. That's where Rudy gets his 700,000 magical number when they only counted 200,000 ballots in the area where there's 200,000 voters. Or probably 220.
I observed it thousands of times.
Thousands of times. She observed this thousands of times, where they would slowly take the jam ballot out and lay it on top.
And how many were there? 20 machines?
20 machines, thousands of times. Are you not paying fucking attention?
Approximately?
Approximately
between 22 to 24.
And were there any Republicans who were observing, or just Democrats?
I saw very few Republicans.
How did you spot them? If they weren't wearing their MAGA hat, how do you even know?
It's about 3 total.
About 3. I could tell they were Republicans. Barrel-chested, T-shirts that said, God, guns, and guts made this country great. All had long guns pointed at the heads of the voters. Like a Democrat wouldn't do that.
How about those 20 machines? Did you see any of them observing those 20 machines where the ballot was being put in 10 or 20 times?
Big question. I got some of them questioning me. My manager had came up to. I had called my manager over to a specific tabulating machine.
Because that's in the Karen handbook. Calling over the manager, right?
I showed him a number on it, which was close to 500. It should never go over 50. Ballots come in batches of 50.
And there is no situation where this woman sees double.
I said, we have a severe problem here, Nick. Autonomous. We have a severe problem here. Nick, autonomous, which is a part owner of Dominion. Autonomous, which is a part owner of Dominion. And he said, Melissa, I don't want to hear that we have a problem. He said, we are here to assist with IT. We are not here to run their election. That is exactly what he said to me.
Right. So he doesn't want you being a Trump poll watcher trying to fuck with their counting. That's not up to you. You're there to make sure the machines run correctly. Now, in the statement where they were running it wrong, you could have said to him, I think they're running them twice. That's a mistake. And it's going to not match up later with the books and make our machines look wrong. And he could go, you're a dumbass. I can see that it's 50.
At that point, I was just really frustrated and upset.
At not being able to pronounce your boss's name?
I could tell what was going on. I knew what was going on at that point.
I know what's going on. I know what's going on with you people. You Detroit people of very Detroitment-like people. You know what I'm saying? Detroit. Need I say more?
What was going on?
Yeah, what was going on?
He was in on it.
He was in on it. That's what it is. What was his name again? Nick Economanometer?
He was in on it. They were all in on it.
Everybody's in on it. It's all big, okay? They're all in on it.
On what?
They were cheating. It was very, very apparent. It was apparent he knew. It was apparent that he was in on it. And when he caught on to me knowing that he was in on it, he just wanted nothing to do with me.
And that no one could choose to feel that way based on your personality and the fact that you're a day drunk.
Now, did there come a time when two vans
in on it? Proof positive. Bing, bang, zippity boom.
Pulled up
Yes.
in the back.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Well, no. Your own goddamn affidavit. Rudy, we have gone over this. The votes came from the back. The vans pulled up out front. They were supposed to have food in them, and they didn't. Keep your story straight.
Yes, sir.
Late at night.
Yeah.
No, in the morning.
Tell us about that.
Tell us about the vans.
Approximately 4 o'clock.
Yep, same vans I was talking about. Son of a bitch. They did not arrive in the back. They came in the front. The votes came from the back of the room. That was the allegation. They were supposed to be full of food, and they're not. Fuck, man. Why do I know your case better than you?
The garage door of the TCF Center opened. The counting room in the TCF Center is in the basement. So when the
So it is in the basement. So that's a normal thing. Okay.
garage door opened, a van pulled up.
With ballots in it.
One on day shift, one on night shift. They were supposed to be for food because they were short on food for the workers.
Yeah, and I didn't have food in them. I know a fucking food truck when I see a food truck. And that's kind of it.
That's what they said over the microphone. That's what Daniel Baxter said.
Ben, you can't just put shit like that in my feed. That's not how it works.
He said they
That's rude. Don't do that.
had food for 1/3 of the workers, and that they would provide food and it would be there shortly.
Okay.
Well, food never
And we had to eat ballots. I saw tens of thousands of 24 ballot people eating ballots. It was horrible.
came out of these
There was no sauce.
vans.
Yes, what's your point of order, Representative?
We have these people coming in here testifying, making claims. They should be under, we should have them under, what do you call it?
Oath.
Under oath.
Representative, we don't do that. Representative, we're not going to do that. You're out of order. You're out of order, Representative.
We're not putting people under oath. This is number 2. This is the second one of these fucking things we've done. This one's even in the actual proper building. They're not putting anybody under oath. She's not under oath. She's not going to say anything under oath.
We don't do that here in Michigan.
We don't do that here in Michigan. Nobody goes under oath in Michigan. We're an oath-free state. Just ask the oath keepers. Oh, shit.
We've never done that.
I wrote an affidavit.
Mr. Chairman.
I wrote an affidavit, okay? Ask David. He'll tell you.
She has an
And
affidavit.
Biden never.
So, the affidavit just says that you think you saw something. It doesn't mean you actually did.
Has done.
She has an affidavit under oath.
Representative.
Then she shouldn't have a problem with being under oath in what she says, because what if it doesn't match with her affidavit? She did the affidavit under oath. What if her testimony doesn't match up? We should be able to bear those against each other. It's why you depose people in the first fucking place.
Please continue.
Hold your oath. I'll hold your oath. What oath? My oath to these crullers.
Continue, and if we could have fewer the back and forth, and maybe you can tell your story.
Yeah, Rudy, stop helping her.
No, I'm talking with Mr. Giuliani. We really want to get through this, and this is sort of a format that is a little unusual to our committee.
Yeah, you mean witnesses giving testimony and not being under oath?
So if it's possible to tell a little more of your story, and I understand you're trying to speed it up, but we want to make sure we get...
Yeah, Rudy, don't stop her from talking. When she starts talking about the machines, we want to hear her say it. Don't clean up her mess. Let's hear it. And don't tug on her blouse and get her to stop.
Get through everything today, Mr. Giuliani.
Yeah.
Good. And read some from your affidavit. That's your affidavit
Sure.
under oath.
So I have 19 things in my affidavit.
19. No, 19.
I was at the TCF Center for 27 hours. I'm a mother. I have 2 children, and I have 2 degrees.
This is the part we heard before.
I'm very,
Yes, you are.
I would never, I don't know anyone.
They're talking about her. She's fucking drunk right now. I know that. I had lunch with her. That's what made me shit my pants.
Woman in the world that would write an affidavit under oath.
So, Rudy, call E. Jean Carroll and apologize.
Just to write it. You know, you can go to prison for this. So
Nah, you can usually get fined, or if you're trying to mislead the court, they have to prove it. It's very hard, so they don't bother. They just give you contempt and tell you to piss off.
anyways, I want to make this very clear.
You can't, and by the way, you can only go to prison for your lying in your affidavit if you give them permission to present it in court, which you haven't, and if indeed you are sworn under oath during the presentation of that evidence. And because nobody can jail you for lying in a document between two parties. Unless they present that as witness and as witness testimony in an actual court, which they're not, or in a situation where you're under oath, which you aren't. Nobody gives a shit what she swore to in her affidavit.
Clear. I was initially supposed to work at the Detroit Department of Elections building.
Doing IT for Dominion?
That was an order by my manager, Nick Economaganis. Part owner of Dominion. I have it all in emails. I was trained on the adjudication and tabulation process.
Yeah, but you said you were there to help with IT, though, the actual inner workings of the machines and make sure that they function, not to be a judge of what was going on. Other people were doing that, and by paying attention only half the time to what they were doing, you might have interrupted a process and screwed up a count or messed with something that you knew nothing about.
So,
what did Rudy just say in the background? I don't know. Hold on. See if we can hear it.
That Detroit Department of Elections supposed to work at the Detroit Department of Elections building to
I don't know.
work at the Detroit Department of Elections building.
I can't tell.
Work at
who's coming next?
Detroit Department of Elections
Who's the next witness?
building.
He's ready to move on.
That was an order by my manager, Nick Economaganis. Part owner of Dominion. I have it all in emails.
That he partly owns Dominion?
I was trained on the adjudication and tabulation process.
The process or the machines? You're you're a part-time or an independent IT specialist something.
So in the email, it says you are to park in a parking lot and get shuttled over to this, they referred to it as the Chicago warehouse.
That's the Chicago warehouse. Go get the other witness and get me the fuck out of here.
I know for a fact there was illegal activity going on there. People have pictures of people carrying ballots out of that place. There is pictures of vans full of ballots coming out of that place. If it wasn't for my mother, I would have went there. My mom told me no way. This sounds really, really weird. And I have 2 young children, as I stated, that I needed access to my vehicle in case something happened.
So your mom told you not to take the shuttle to the place they told you to go? So you decided to drive there instead of parking in the parking lot and taking the shuttle because your mom said, don't take a shuttle in Detroit?
I ended up telling them that, and they said, okay, we'll put you at the TCF Center.
Okay. Yeah, you're like, I'm not taking a shuttle with black people. And they went, okay, we'll put you at the TCF Center. That basically how it's shaken down? Is that what we're going with?
Well, Samuel, there was 5 employees, 3 permanent employees of Dominion, 2 contract employees, me, a contract employee, and there was a 90-year-old man.
Oh, no.
Last name Smiley. I have all of his paperwork. I have all their names, last name.
Old Smiley, we just call him. Hey! How are you young kids today? I'm 90 years old today. This lucky man. They call me Old Smiley. Old Smiley sits on a big old thing and he counts those ballots all night long and he'll do it all for freedom. Old Smiley. Fucking hell.
Names. 4 employees.
And a partridge.
That were scheduled to work in the city of Detroit. That were not at the TCF Center. Were all at this Chicago warehouse, which was the city election department building.
Great. Cool. With you so far. So geography, down, right. You know shit. Yeah, Kobo. Which, by the way, I saw Kiss's last performance at Kobo Hall on my birthday. Thank you, Robert Hall. Love you, brother.
Anyways,
Old Smiley.
so I also witnessed
Shuttles and cars and parking situations, and it was gross. My mom told me not to go there because it's nasty. Hello, Ireland. How are you? Colette Curry. Love to you. Good night, and may your God go with you.
There was a point in the night where
Old Smiley.
I'm sorry,
Skeeter.
Samuel.
Sam. Rudy's fallen asleep already. Either that or he's really concentrating on trying not to fart again.
And Nick said that there was a big data loss. They started freaking out, stepped off the stage, got on their phones.
So why would they freak out if they were if there was a big data loss if they were trying to throw the whole election?
I asked them what was going on. They said it was taken care of. Nick sent Samuel over to this warehouse.
It's a warehouse. Is it a warehouse? I mean, where is this house anyway?
For about 3 hours. When he got back, I said, "Where were you? Where'd you go?"
And?
He said, "I was at the warehouse." And I said, "What were you doing there?" And he's like, nothing, they just needed my help. Well, I said, "Where is this warehouse?" And he said,
So-called.
Because I wasn't putting two and two together yet that I, was initially supposed to work there because I'd never even.
When can we get this bitch out of here? She's driving everybody crazy. I've got another witness, but she can't come in for a little while. But we'll just keep her jabbering. Look at this. Look at this little conference that's happening over here.
Looked up the address. And what I believe is.
All right, well, what you believe. Where the fuck is this place?
It wasn't a data loss. It was actually when they found out Trump was ahead 100,000 votes, and they sent Nick over there to assist with these ballots that came in these vans full of ballots that people can attest to that they witnessed being carried out of these vans at the TCF Center.
You mean the mail-in ballots that people actually cast in Michigan? Okay.
I didn't see any ballots being carried out of vans. I'm not going to lie. I didn't.
You're in the same place the other people were talking about.
Didn't see anything being carried out of them, but I know people who have.
Okay. And they're good people, and fuck you.
That did see this
yes.
Occurring.
So that's what you call hearsay, and that's better than her say, all right? And him say.
But,
because I heard it right here today. Rudy just said it.
I also witnessed the adjudication process. Numerous adjudicators were.
And also the Iraq.
Machines were.
This is amazing.
All the ballots were being judged by 2 Democrats. I heard them talking.
Oh my God. Only Democrats talk like that. They were saying things like Woman's March and blue hair and democratic socialism and Bernie Sanders.
One woman said to another woman, "Are you a Republican or are you a Democrat?" She said, "I'm a Democrat." And she said, "Well, so am I. Let's sit together." Sat together all night judging ballots,
Is that how it works? Oh my God, you're a Democrat? Me too. It so says in the rules that we're supposed to separate, but let's sit together and just judge ballots. You wanna? Sure.
I mean, thousands of ballots got judged all night by the reason the rule's there is so it can be a fair process. It wasn't a fair process.
Yeah, and like they said, oh my God, I'm a Democrat. You're a Democrat. It's so amazing. Sit with me.
It wasn't a fair process at all.
Wasn't a fair process because I totally heard them talking and this totally happened.
And the tabulating problem.
Oh boy.
With them.
Go back to the tabulating problem. You're starting to lose Rudy. He's falling over. He's about to fart on Jenna.
Numerous.
He's like flipping through his papers. Fuck me.
Ballots through these tabulators and just continuing to do it. I had a friend that I knew.
Well, we got to get this bitch out of here.
For over 20 years.
Yep.
And he came up to me and said, he was working the night shift.
Mm-hmm.
He came up to me and said, Melissa, we did not get any training at all. None. He goes, I have no idea what I'm doing. He was with 3 other people. I said,
Melissa, I know you. You work for the company, and we received no training. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing here. Are you supposed to be here? No. Maybe that's why.
I just told my manager that. I said I could tell you guys.
Nick, come over here. Why was he not trained? He doesn't work here. Oh.
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
And he said, nope, we were trained on the adjudication process, not the tabulation process.
What am I even doing here?
And I said, so you don't know what you're doing? And he said, nope. I said, great, that's just great.
So the adjudication process, which is the part you're most worried about, were the people who, I guess, judge the machines that judge the signatures and the IT around that versus the IT around the machines that tabulate. So the more complicated machines are what you were actually trained on, but the simpler machines that simply tabulate, and the only problem they seem to have is jamming paper. You can't figure that shit out? Man.
Nobody was helping me.
Nobody's helping me. Load letter error. What the fuck is this?
I was...
Honest to God, this woman is like a one-woman sequel to Office Space.
You know, running around assisting these people all night long.
And yet not assisting because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
And it was all day and all night. It was crazy.
It was nuts. It was wild. I didn't even want to come back, but I did.
And they were running these ballots through without discarding them countless times. There was so many
counted times.
Ballots ran through these tabulators numerous times.
And so they were just kind of randomly doing it, not caring if it wouldn't match up with the amount of voters in the area, which it later did, which the guy who questioned Rudy, and made him fart, brings up.
I mean, without any oversight at all.
You are the oversight.
I mean, there's so much. This election, I will say, these Democrats took every avenue possible to commit fraud in this election, and what I saw on the 3rd and 4th was over 20 counts of fraud being taking place in front of my face, and this isn't counting. The ballots that are found in rivers, the ballots found under rocks.
There weren't any ballots found in rivers or under rocks.
Ballots, that ended up.
Representative, please. Representative, do you have a point of order?
I love how you can
What's your
say
point of
whatever
order?
you want to say.
I love how you can say whatever you want to say, black lady.
Do you have a point of order, Representative?
She's just,
oh no, okay?
Cynthia wants to defend the fraud.
Cynthia, oh, thank you, Deborah. Appreciate that. And Ann, oh my God, thank you guys so much. And Linda, thank you again. And Mark, thank you guys. And Stephanie, thank you for the Venmos. That's really sweet.
This is funny.
Yes, you're hilarious. She's going, this woman is not even talking about shit that happened in the state or stuff that she saw personally. Can we keep the actual testimony to what she actually witnessed?
All right. Ma'am, please continue.
Yeah, so,
And also, by the way, I mean, can you maybe speak to your experience? I know we've heard stories of ballots being thrown in rivers, but I want to make sure we're speaking to your experience because we have limited time and we got to get our questions in and the other witnesses. So is there more to your experience? And then
No, there isn't.
I called the FBI on the 8th, November 8th.
And how long before they started laughing? How drunk were you?
I talked to 2 separate women.
Ooh. Well, I'm glad the FBI is so progressive.
Over 40 minutes, the first one gave
I'm sure she wasn't bored at all.
her all my information.
Hi, ma'am. Yes, Federal Bureau of Investigation, special agent, woman in charge of listening to random bullshit from Rudy Giuliani's pages. Yeah, I'm in the middle of trying to track down a serial killer who's laundering money through the Caymans. But yeah, I got a couple minutes for you to ramble in my fucking ear about bullshit you thought you heard. You said somebody else maybe possibly did at some point because the election didn't go your way. Go ahead. Can you guys let me know when she stopped talking?
The phone mysteriously cut out.
The phone mysteriously cut out. Mysteriously, I have to say, ma'am, there is no mystery in any time the phone cuts out when you're on it. That is the easiest mystery to solve. Here's how it happened. Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Jesus Christ. Can I get a new number?
And she never called me back. I was waiting for her to call me back. She never called me back.
Weird.
I had to call them back. And they never called me back.
They didn't call you back. I had to call them back and they didn't call me back. They didn't call me back. I gave them all this stuff. They went, yeah, we checked on shit. We watched this stuff. We talked to them. We know what's going on. You're insane. Can you not bother us right now?
Never got a call back. So
Never got a call back. Never.
I haven't got a call back.
Bureaucracy.
And I had somebody else working on it that has a neighbor that's an old FBI agent.
Does he know Old Smiley? Old FBI agent and Old Smiley. Old Fibby and Old Smiley. They fight crimes and fall in love. This fall on CBS. I'm Old Smiley and I'm Old Fibby. I based my entire character off of Gran Torino.
And still haven't heard back from that.
You haven't heard back from Old Smiley?
Can I ask you just one last question?
Sure.
One last question. Can we wrap this shit up?
Listen. So,
did you get a call back? Can I ask you one last question? Did anybody call you back?
how many ballots would you estimate?
Yeah, just estimate. Since all your other numbers line up and the FBI wasn't bored by your rambling horse shit, how many ballots would you guesstimate are possibly in the pockets of Nicholas Kanamanakamahamahamas?
In front of you that you observed were counted multiple times in the machine.
10,000, maybe 24 machines, 3 times a minute, 45,000, probably, maybe. How many does he need to win? 130,000, 140, to at least 150,000.
Can you put a number to it, an estimated number?
At least 30,000.
At least 30,000. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you mean the number of, what's the margin in that county that they needed to win?
Okay.
Thank you. And I guess I'll ask a question.
Yeah, dude, because you want this to go on longer.
I just want to understand. So,
yeah, we all do.
So, what is
the point of all this?
What is your role with Dominion?
You thought he'd forgotten. It was almost 20 minutes ago. And he had... What the fuck do you do? I'm sorry. What? What do you do?
Can you clarify that?
No, she can't. But this will be fun to watch.
You're welcome. My role with Dominion was to assist with IT for the election.
Okay, IT. All right.
So are you, you're some kind of contract employee?
I was a contract employee, yes.
Okay, of what organization?
I'm sorry.
So were you were like a contract employee of Dominion, or was there some
So I have
contractor?
my resume everywhere,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, as you do. Yeah. Dude, Google her LinkedIn. Stop asking her all these bullshit questions.
And because I was laid off from Ford.
Do not answer a question where someone says, "Where do you work?" by telling them where you no longer work.
So they just found my resume.
Yeah, under a rock next to some ballots.
And called me and said, "Do you want to work the election?"
Hey, you want to work the election? We just found your, we was like, hey, we were looking at people who'd been laid off from Ford, and we just like found your resume, and we were like, hey, want to work the election?
the third and the
I
fourth.
see, but you're
The third and the fourth. Yeah.
employed directly by Dominion?
Did Dominion pay me? No.
Okay. This turned out to be a great question.
PDS staffing paid me.
PDS staffing paid you. PDS staffing, a temp organization. You're a temp. This is a temp. We're seeing the testimony of a fucking temp. She's a temp. Temps do some good work. I'm not throwing shade at temps. She's a fucking temp. She's not a contractor. She's a temp.
Did Dominion pay me? No. PDS staffing paid me.
Okay.
Because they called me, but I was working for Dominion. Yes.
Okay.
Something very, very suspicious too, must I add. That we were not allowed to wear name tags at all. We were not allowed to talk about who we worked for. They were very secretive.
The staffing company?
They didn't want anybody knowing anything about them.
So they wanted Dominion staffers just walking around and not being, I guess, given seniority in a circumstance they had no control over. So you were walking around without a name tag, not an employee of Dominion. You were a temp bothering the co-owner of a company with your little input on how bullshit this election was when you're all right.
And so I just want to make sure I understand you.
You don't
correctly. So you said you're alleging that you heard or that you witnessed ballots being put in the machine, run through, counted, and then put through again? Is that what you're alleging?
Without discarding. That is what I am telling you to be a fact.
And how many times did you witness this happening?
What does the discarding process take? Is it a single button push, or do you have to do some sort of programming on it? Was there someone else doing the discarding while you were looking at the ballot situation?
I witnessed it in a 27-hour period, thousands and thousands of times.
Okay. I'm a temp. Okay? Temp never wrong.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and
Yeah, it's fabulous.
and I will note, Dominion won't come before this committee. I've asked them, and so far they've refused, and I do want them to come before this committee because we need answers from them about how their machines
missing.
work. So we're going to continue to try to get them here. But with that, I'll go to Representative LaFave.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I am not sure how I'm going to do this with one question, but I'm going to try my best anyway.
Go for it.
So, with these tabulator machines, of which you estimate there are approximately 22 to 24, I guess I'm not understanding. So, you place batches
That means you're healthy, young man.
of 50 on top of the machine.
No. Okay, so
Let me show you how this works, okay?
I'm gonna try to explain it to you as if it's a printer, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so a printer, when the papers come out of the printer,
When the papers come out.
that's where in these tabulators, that's where you would feed the 50 in, okay?
So where they normally come out of a printer, the part that goes ahanna, 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 you would take them and you put them there, and they would go hamanahang, hamanahang, hamana, not hamanahanahana. They would go akanamanakana into the machine, right? They would go mama say mama sa manakusa, mama say mama sa mamakusa, mama say mama sa, not hamana 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 hamana. Just to clarify.
Now, on top of the printer, right?
Right.
So where the scanner would be, right?
Right, where the scanner would be if it was a scanner, but it's a printer, okay?
If it's like a 4-in-1.
Yeah, one of those, 4-in-1. They taught us how to use those. You can get it. We go to Staples, $99. They're pretty sweet. It used to be really expensive. But anyways, you know what a 4-in-1 is. Not a 4-in-1, a 4-in-1. I'm trying, guys.
Right? So where the scanner would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's like a 4-in-1, right?
Right. Please tell this part of the story slower. A 4-in-1, right? I've seen, you know, I know what you're talking about. I've seen such things. Obviously not all at once. I've seen a 4-in-1 a few times. Oh God.
So that's where
I'm in double entendre hell with this woman.
these ballots would come out after they had been tabulated.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
they go in and then they come out the exact same way they came in. What a wonderful design that you understand.
if one jammed, number 25 jammed, right?
Number 25. It was actually number 24, but we'll leave that.
Then it would put up an error. Discard, rescan. Ballot number 25 has an issue. So they would then take all the ballots that had been tabulated from the top, right, that are now on the top, the 24 that are on the top, the ones that are on the bottom that haven't been tabulated yet, okay? And number 25, the problem ballot, they would put number 25 on top. They would discard the entire batch.
Why would they discard the entire batch? Okay, all right, dummy. God damn it. I have to say, I was brought into this whole thing thinking, you know, oh my, well, she's obviously seeing piles of paper. This moron, this temp, thinks that the machine says number 25 has jammed. Take out and set aside for rescan, that you have to throw out all the other ballots. What? And it knows ballot number 25 at some point. It recognizes it's using some sort of scanning situation. Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then they would rescan it.
So throw out the entire stack and rescan ballot number 25. So all the ones before it, she thinks get thrown out and don't get counted and should be cleared. And this woman thinks, holy shit. She thinks that all the ballots before the jammed one have to be rescanned. They have to be cleared and rescanned. And they were just keeping them because there's no fucking reason.
Instead of discarding it, they would rescan them.
They would rescan ballot 25.
Counting those 24.
Before it, that were scanned just fine.
Again. Okay?
No, they didn't. They didn't put them back in the bottom of the fucking thing.
Now, let's say it was out of 50, number 48 that jammed.
Okay.
That's 47 being counted again. I'm just using you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. Because it was requesting that the single vote be rescanned. And it seems like that's what we were doing. And they were in separate batches. They go in the machine through the bottom and they come out the top like a real printer. Not like a scanner. Like you were saying, it goes in like a 4-in-1, which is like something. It goes, I think it's somewhere along, if I can explain all right, never mind. I'm going to break a finger.
So, does that clarify that?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It does. And basically you put batches of 50 in until you're done with that precinct, right?
That's what they would do, yes. But
so the precincts, okay, so they were syncing, and this is where he just blew a hole in what she's doing. So they do take the whole batch, they throw it through, and with including the jammed one, they fix it, and then they run the batch together. That's a specific precinct. That pile is assigned to a specific precinct, and that precinct's number of ballots are finite, and therefore they know those are going through. And so even if they shovel through that same 50 100 times, it's still only going to match up with the 50 that are supposed to be matched to the precinct in the software. Fucking hell.
a lot of these workers would, they would get a batch of 50, and then they wouldn't get another batch for like 10 minutes. So then the ballot box was behind them, the steel ballot box. So they would have this batch of 50 in front of them for 10 minutes with no oversight. So they would run them through again with no oversight. They just had no idea what was going on. And if they did know what was going on, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, right? So
You certainly are.
I'm saying they have no idea what's going on. Who knows? They did. You know, I have no idea.
That was
I know
helpful.
what my friend said.
Thank you, Mr.
That
Chairman.
was what my friend said.
Representative C.A. Johnson.
Get her, CA. Did you hear her just go, Listen to this.
Representative C.A. Johnson. You're on our list. Did you have a question? Okay.
I don't need to talk to her.
Representative Camilleri.
I got something to say. I don't have any questions for the woman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your testimony. Going back to the ruling from Judge Kenny, Timothy Kenny, he writes that your description of the events at the TCF Center does not square with any other affidavits.
Yeah.
He says that there are,
Time I say?
excuse me, I'm speaking.
Please,
Thank you.
let's let the representative finish, and then you can.
Go ahead.
He writes that there are no other reports of lost data or tabulating machines that jammed repeatedly every hour during the count. He also writes that neither Republican nor Democratic challengers nor city officials substantiate your version of these events. The allegations simply are not credible, is what Judge Kenny writes. So my question for you is,
if they know you're bullshit, why in the world should we give a goddamn?
You're making claims here today that there's systematic fraud in what's going on in our elections. Are the courts also tied up in that fraud?
Let me tell you what I did by accident, okay?
Yes, please.
I gave Channel 7 an interview
That was an accident?
that they tied in to that and made me the witness that's uncredible. Guess what? There's going to be a couple behind me that are going to say the same thing I just said. And
The witness before you was also proven not credible as well by
oh
the
no,
same
she
judge.
wasn't, because she wasn't even there.
Representative
The very
Camilleri,
first
let's let her
time
finish,
she has
please.
talked.
This is the first time she has talked. Apparently not, because she was in that actual lawsuit. So either her affidavit, maybe this is the first time she's spoken in public.
The very first time.
Well, it feels like the first time, but.
So I just want to understand, I don't know what exactly all the things that are being talked about there are, but.
Yeah, why would you? You just called the hearing.
But can you tell us what you said today is the truth? Is that?
No. Put her under oath, asshole. You don't get to ask her if she's telling the truth, but she's not legally bound to tell the truth. You have a gavel. Fucking use it.
Correct.
Sir, I wrote a written affidavit. Yes, it is 100% true.
Okay. And did other people observe this?
Absolutely. And behind me, you're going to hear a couple.
Okay.
You're going to hear a couple.
And we'll.
Here's a couple right now. They're not a couple. They're just sitting together.
We'll hear from them.
I think they're both Democrats. I heard them talking. Are you a Democrat? Yes, I am. Let's sit with me.
Let me just state this. I was an IT worker on the stage.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not.
I was working with Dominion.
No. You were a temp worker, allegedly working IT on these things that was staggering up to the president of the company or the vice president of the company, whom no one knows and probably doesn't exist because Trump says so. And you were asking him where he was, allegedly, where are you going?
I had no poll workers were not allowed on the stage.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not. Quit it. Jennifer, quit it. I can't. I'm not going there.
The data loss, nobody would have heard about that besides me, Samuel, and Nick. Okay?
Okay. You mean Sam and Nick, the people who work for the company, and had told people as well? And that they filed stuff about it? They were the people who ran the company, your boss and his boss? So without your boss and his boss talking about it, nobody would have... All right.
Just like nobody knows that Samuel went to the Chicago warehouse besides me.
You were supposed to go to the Chicago warehouse. You would have known he'd come there and been there the whole goddamn time if you'd have gone where they'd asked you to go. But your mom said don't.
Because I worked for Dominion.
No, you worked for a temp agency that was hired by Dominion to staff people.
They didn't.
No, they didn't. Who didn't?
A warehouse besides me because I worked for Dominion. They didn't. They're not going to hear that part. You know what I mean? The poll workers are not going to know that Samuel, they're not even going to know who he is.
No, definitely not.
You know, they're not going to know.
They don't know who Sam is.
Oh, that he went to.
They're going to know Old Smiley and that's it.
The warehouse.
So can you, I think what Representative Camilleri is asking.
No, don't help.
Is perhaps why is it that more people, and I know we have a couple here today, but why is it that we're not having more people come forward? I mean, it seems like
fear. They're afraid of being assassinated by the deep state. Those George Soros bullets dipped in Jew blood.
Like if there was
I'll tell you why.
Tell us.
Widespread fraud that, you know, we'd have dozens and dozens of people.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
My life has been destroyed. My life has been completely destroyed.
Yeah, she lost her job at Ford. She's working for a temp agency now.
Because of this. I've lost family. I've lost friends. I've been threatened. My kids have been threatened. I've had to move. I've had to change my phone number. I've had to get rid of social media. Nobody wants to come forward. They're getting threatened.
By who? File these reports. Anybody who threatens your life or threatens your kids or file reports on this shit. Except they didn't.
Their lives are getting ruined. I can't even get an actual job anymore.
Well, after today, I think they're going to have a lot of opportunities. I really, really do. Once social distancing laws open up certain venues again,
I can't. Because Democrats like to ruin your lives. That's why.
All right.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, why would it be difficult for a woman of her stature with this eloquent way of speaking and her clear grasp of facts and reality? Why would she'd be welcome on any team? Rudy, why aren't you hiring this woman right now? You're making $20,000 a day. You could probably leave a couple hundred for her on the dresser with some regularity.
Let's
just like they do to Trump.
That's right, just like they do to Trump. Democrats have ruined Trump's life.
Let's move on to Representative Steve Johnson.
Steve, get her.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Mr.
Steve.
Chair. So obviously these allegations are very troubling. This is my question here.
Mm-hmm.
If these ballots were run through multiple times, as you've alleged, I think you said possibly up to 30,000 times, definitely thousands of times being counted. When we examine the poll book and see who voted,
why did Lex Luthor Jr. never show up?
And we count those numbers,
Yes.
would they then not line up with the total number of votes coming out of Detroit?
Yeah, that would be kind of crucial.
Just later. The poll book is completely off. Completely off.
Off by 30,000?
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000.
Uh-huh. I don't even know if anybody actually even lives in Detroit.
That poll book? Why don't you look at the registered voters on there? How many registered voters are on there?
Well, if it's a poll book, they're all registered voters. Unless they technically registered that day, in which case they'd be a newly registered voter. Why would a poll book not have registered voters on it?
Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom of this here.
Zero. There's zero.
So
there's zero. Not all right. You look at the registered voters on there. There are 0 registered voters on the registration rolls.
My question then is if the
Guess how many? Wait. What about the term?
Baby, please, come on. We gotta go. The car's here. Baby, come on. Come on. I can't, baby. No. It's not worth it. Baby, Leah, let's go eat. Come on. No. We got a reservation. Can we, please? Can we get, yeah. Whatever she's on is starting to kick in.
Turnout rate, 120%.
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question.
So the poll book number, there's two things that could happen here. Either the poll book number, if ballots were counted multiple times, there's two options. Option number one is that the poll book numbers are not going to match.
They don't.
The actual. Not by thousands and thousands of votes. That's not what we see right now.
Take a look again.
Yeah, look again, okay? Can you even see with your eyes?
Look again.
Option number two is that they essentially were filling in names of people who didn't vote.
Dead people too?
So is that?
Let's
I guess,
let
is that
Representative
your
Johnson ask his question, and then when
I
he's
thought that
done,
was his answer. Okay.
Well, I guess that's my question.
Yeah, when he's done talking, then
question is why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes. That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
The eyebrow flip is the best.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
Huh? What'd you do? Did you take it somewhere?
I'm just saying the numbers are not off by 30,000 votes. So
I know what I
saying
saw.
that they're filling in?
I know what I saw, and I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison.
So what'd you sign? Besides taking an oath when you signed up for office.
Did you?
Yeah, he took an oath when he got his job.
Okay,
Did you? Dude is not even picking on her. He's just going, I'm trying to figure out which part you're alleging.
Ask you a legitimate question here.
Yeah, let's let Representative Johnson ask his question, and then don't interrupt him. And then, if you want to respond to it, that's
yeah. All due respect to him, he is yelling at a water balloon with a mop on it.
fine. Did you have more, Representative?
Yeah, I guess I just want to keep following back up with the poll book. So are we saying that the poll book is either wildly off or that they are filling in names?
It's wildly off, and dead people voted, and illegals voted.
Okay.
So that's my answer.
I think we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Dead people and illegals voted, and they've... Well, why would you need dead people and illegals voted if the whole plan was to run the same votes 100,000 times? Seriously. Right? What, is it a 3-tiered plan just to make sure? Look, I know we've got these systems set up and we've got the head of Dominion standing on a stage in the TCF Center, or the Chicago warehouse, if there is even such a thing. And, they're gonna throw the whole election. They get this whole system set up where they leave somebody alone at a desk in full view of everyone with cameras all around, but whatever, with 50 ballots for 10 minutes. And they can just sit there and do it they can run them as many times as they want to, and the boxes are right behind them. They could throw them right in there and get a new batch, but they don't. They sit there for like 10 minutes, just thumb up their ass, doing nothing. And but what if that's not enough? What if we can't run enough of those ballots? I know, dead people.
Representative LeGrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, ma'am, can I ask you a simple question?
Sure.
No, you can't.
Did you convey the narrative? When did you communicate substantially the narrative that you've given us today? At what do you recall the date that you gave that to the Trump legal team, to Mr. Giuliani and the woman sitting next to him?
Jenna Ellis.
To Mr. Giuliani.
To the team.
To them. I'm working with a different attorney.
Well, they're here with you now, and they heard your story, and it's not the first time they heard it. When did you tell them?
I have
when did you give them essentially the narrative?
To Mr. Giuliani.
Pardon? I'm not asking you to finesse here. I'm asking you, when did you tell them the narrative that you're telling us now?
When did I write my first affidavit? November 8th.
Thank you. That's a great place to start. Thanks.
Right.
All right.
But does that answer your question? Because
think it does.
It was sent to Lauren McLaughlin.
Lauren McLaughlin.
I don't know.
I think
if
we're
you
good here.
got it.
We'll move on. So thank you, Representative LeGrand.
For the record, I met her for the first time today and talked to her for the first time yesterday.
If you're saying
When did you fill out the affidavit?
the affidavit is essentially consistent with her testimony today, and that was submitted on November 8th, that's great. That's what I wanted to know.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think everybody else could.
His
I'm not talking to you.
statement was, I think his statement was, if the affidavit matches the testimony today, you're good. Is that what you said?
Of course it matches it.
Okay.
Of course it matches it. Why wouldn't it match?
All right. With that, I think we'll move on to our next person, if that's all right.
Where's the fun in that?
Thank you for your testimony today.
And they wait a minute.
We'd appreciate that, sir.
Did she walk out? What happened? Was she wheeled out? Do we even know? Christ Almighty. Okay, real quick. We've gone so long tonight, but let's see. Where is it? Here it is. The last couple of minutes. This is Trump. He's given the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Lou Holtz, and he answers a couple of questions at the tail end of this. Where he goes, he throws it on him, and then he says, "Yeah, do you like it, Lou?" And he's like, "Okay, great." On the way out the door, he's going to be handing these things out like business cards, along with pardons. Show the video of the fraud from the arena. Yeah, they didn't take any. It's weird, isn't it?
Mr. Holtz, congratulations. How are you feeling?
I feel so indebted to so many people in my life that had such a positive influence on it. For a guy that graduated in the lower third of his high school class, I feel fortunate to be able to be here, but also to be part of this great country and to be next to an individual that I respect as much as him. So I say that you've honored a lot of people. You go look at all the people in Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus. They recognized for what they did. I'm recognized for what other people did. I never made a block or tackle, but I did try to teach people to make good choices. That's all I've ever tried to do. Thank you. Such a great statement. Thank you very
Mr.
much.
President,
It's a great statement. I almost listened.
Mitch McConnell says COVID relief may be in sight. Will you support this bill? Do you support
I will,
the
and I think they're
$9
getting
billion?
very close, and I want it to happen, and I believe that they're getting very close to a deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said to you. I've heard from people that, what'd you say again? I heard what you said.
Supporting this
I will, absolutely.
Mr. President, can I ask you to
Thanks,
respond
Beth.
to the comments by your Attorney General who indicated he has not seen at this point any evidence of fraud enough to overturn the election results? Given that, why is now not the time to concede?
Well, he hasn't done anything, so he hasn't looked. When he
Bill
looks,
Barr.
he'll see the kind of evidence.
What has he
that
done?
right now
What has Bill Barr done? Nothing.
You're seeing in the Georgia
Why do I keep hiring these hams who won't do anything for me?
Senate, they're going through hearings right now in Georgia, and they're finding tremendous volume, so they haven't looked very hard.
Tremendous volume?
Which is a disappointment, to be honest.
You mean a bunch of yelling, people yelling?
Fraud, very hard, which is a disappointment, to be honest with you, because it's massive fraud. Whether you go to Wisconsin, where we just filed a case,
and it got thrown out.
Michigan, or if you look at what's happening in Georgia, as an example, or Pennsylvania.
What's happening in Georgia is your cases are being bounced and they're telling you to go pound sand.
If you look at Nevada, which is moving along very rapidly, or Arizona, you saw those numbers come out yesterday. We found massive fraud, and in other states also. This is probably the most fraudulent election that anyone's ever seen.
Do you still have confidence in Bill Barr?
So all the Republicans that gain seats in the House, clearly we should throw those out and start again.
Ask me that in a number of weeks from now. They should be
Ask me that after the inauguration.
looking at all of this fraud.
No one will ask him.
This is not civil. He thought it was civil. This is not civil. This is criminal stuff. This is very bad criminal stuff. So I just say this. We went through an election.
At 10 o'clock, everybody said that was an easy victory for Trump.
Nobody said that. No one said that.
All of a sudden, the votes started disappearing.
You mean all of a sudden they started counting mail-in votes, especially in the areas where the legislatures, the Republicans in those legislatures, had made it so you couldn't start counting till after midnight on election night, starting the next day. In many cases, not till 6 a.m. the next morning could they even be brought in. Hence this bullshit that Rudy's stampeding around the country going, they were rolling ballots in at ass in the morning. Like, yeah, we passed a law saying you can only roll these ballots in at ass in the morning.
Miraculously disappearing. We found much.
It was a miracle that you lost in its own way.
Of it, but we found far more votes than we need in almost all of these states.
You didn't find any votes.
And I think I can say in all of these states,
No, you can't.
far more votes than we need to win every one of them.
Coach, you're standing right there. You've dealt with teams that have lost, even if you thought they should have won. Give them a speech. Let them get, tell them how to get back on the horse and write another art of the deal.
And I want to just thank my team because my team is doing an unbelievable job.
Yeah, it's not believable at all. That's true.
And more importantly, I want to thank the 74 million plus people that voted.
The 74 million plus the other 6 that voted for, 7 that voted for Biden.
Which, Lou, is the largest amount of people that a sitting president has ever had.
And oddly, the largest number a presidential candidate has ever had was won by Biden.
4 million plus. And because the level of loyalty, I've never seen anything like it. All over the country, they know it was a fixed election. It was a rigged election. They know it, and I appreciate their support. Thank you all very much.
I'm sold. I think yeah, just horrible. All right. This has been a long one, guys. Thank you for being here with me. There was quite a lot of it today. You guys insisted on the long form version of the crazy drunk blonde lady. But I'm gonna go with her testimony was not convincing, and I find it interesting though that they have been quoting. Rudy said it's the first day he's met this woman, and they met yesterday, and that today's the first day they've spoken, or they spoke yesterday and they met today. I think that's what he said. But the affidavit about what she saw or alleged she saw has been floating around since the 8th, and clearly it went straight to Rudy's desk, and it's absolutely included in these affidavits in his folder that he's wagging about. Thank you guys. No, I appreciate you guys hanging around. It's really lovely to be with you guys. It's a good time. It's a nice gathering. By the way, Sunday I have a show for Flappers. You guys know I do a stand-up show for Flappers once a month. Normally I'm there for like a socially distanced one, but the new rules are what they are in California, so I'm going to do it as a Zoom show from my own home on Sunday. And so if you want to go to that, the tickets are at flapperscomedy.com. I don't get paid for that. That money goes to Flappers to help them keep their doors open until they can turn things around and after the pandemic become a club again. And that's just, I love those guys and they've been great. So if you want to see a comedy show on Sunday, they sell tickets on their website, flapperscomedy.com. Again, it's something I do for free. But their staff has been laid off a good portion. A lot of them, even the ones that are getting, unemployment, they usually work for tips and they don't see any of that stuff. So they've taken a major hit. So that's why I'm doing these things with regularity and, and that kind of thing. They are doing drive-in comedy shows, which are illegal, in the Pickwick Bowling Alley parking lot. I'm talking to them about doing one of those before Christmas. But I am also going to be doing a Christmas special of my own just for you guys, leading up to it with music and comedy and songs and stuff that I'm going to be filming and editing over the next month. Leading up to the holiday that I'm going to release like the week before or the weekend before on my to my patrons, and then on probably Christmas Eve for everybody else. But so I don't know when we'll end up scheduling this, but hopefully very soon. And I think I can do it all. But anyways, I adore you guys. I look forward to seeing you every day. Have a wonderful night. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And I will see you tomorrow at the normal time, 3 p.m. Pacific time is my normal time. And to all the people in the UK and in Europe who listen to me at an odd hour, or I keep you up late at night, I mean, COVID's going around. You've got insomnia anyways. You've been binge watching, Luther till 4 a.m. You know you have. Don't make me feel guilty. You don't have to do it every night. Just come back and visit me whenever you want. So love to everybody in the Isles, in the UK throughout, in Scotland and Ireland, and our occasional French and German friends who come in here and watch the show are very good. And to all the Hungarians out there, Hojtmint, good to see you guys. And to all the Chinese people watching me through a VPN, ni hao. Shai Zhejian. And to everybody out there, make sure you stay home if you absolutely can. Wear a mask and physically distance. We don't socially distance around here. Socially, we're very close. Physically, we stay apart. We're not socially distancing. Take that time out. This is a rough patch we're going through. It's really a dark time. Do your part to lighten that load as much as you can. It's all I'm asking. And I think everybody, in this neck of the woods on the internet agrees. So the feral rescue with the broken tail, she came in today. She's living in our bathroom right now because she has to be isolated from the other cats. I'm going to check on her after this. She was a little worn out. They did put her under to cut her tail off, and so she ate a little bit, and she's just a little lethargic, so we'll just have to keep an eye on her, the poor thing. But she's doing all right. So, so far, we just have to watch her. But I think she's going to be just fine. And Michelle in Australia, I'd like to say that officially, let's see, hold on. Hold on, let me get this ready to close down. I wanted to say, sorry about Hugh Keys-Byrne. Hugh, who was the villain in the original Mad Max, and then, of course, was in Fury Road as well. I'm sorry for your loss of country. He was a good bloke. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, guys, and thank you guys for the support. Honest to God. Thanks for becoming patrons, you guys. Patreon.com/AlSparks. Thank you for the super chats. I adore you for that, especially and the bits. Thank you, Casbah and Countess Carper. And thanks for Blind Razor for following on Twitch, and One Alien for following on that. Thank you, Beth, for the super chat and sharing news and music for the super chat. That was very nice to you guys. Thanks for the bits from Francie and Ruby Redhead and Mark P and Carissarella. Norman Fox, thank you so much. Susie, thank you. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Cover Me 2011. Thank you, Ditto. Thank you, Counters Carper. Thank you, Jay, for the super chat. Thank you, Melinda and Templeton Zarat. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for the Venmos. That really great stuff today. Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go so you can have an evening. I will see you guys tomorrow at our regular time. Thanks so much. Much love to everybody. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. We'll see you then. And yes, and I'll give you an update on the cat. I think I'll be able to bring her down tomorrow or something like that. So, bye everybody.